photographing the way I do, but with my colors, this will change everything.
I got to see each frame, each position of its wing, and they're so beautiful that I have never seen before.
Being able to move quickly and working at my brain's pace and getting those shots in the moment. Having this camera allows you to go out and create the way you want to create.
Until you use it, you cannot even imagine what you have missed.
It's something I've never seen before in my entire life. It's something totally different.
Nikon Z6 III. Outperform.
Introducing ISO Color Edge. Precision is essential for any professional working with images. Whether you're an artist, a retoucher, or a visual effects specialist, you need to know that what you see at the start of a project is precisely what you'll get at the end. Color Edge monitors give consistent, reliable accuracy that guarantee no surprises within your color workflow. So what you see in real life is what you see on screen, and what you see on screen is what you see in real life. That's precisely why professionals all over the world trust ISO Color Edge for their image creation. ISO Color Edge. Discover living, breathing color.
I'm Mark Rosetto from the Professional Photography Business Network.
A vibrant community from all around the world who's here to supercharge your business growth.
This is not an expensive one-size-fits-all course.
The PPBN is a network,
an online educational platform with training and resources to suit everyone.
from those just starting out to the seasoned pros.
You can tailor your journey to suit your individual business needs and challenges, all at your own pace.
And there's new content added every week. But success is only part of the experience.
To us, community is super important, as we all know business can be lonely.
So join us today. PPBN is your unfair advantage. Let's do this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the 2026 Australian Photographic Prize. Hope you've really been enjoying the judging that we've had so far. We've had 5 incredible categories already, and we're here today for the judging of our 6th category, Classic Portrait. So thank you for joining us today on YouTube or watching us on replay. We hope you enjoy watching some really fantastic images judging today. Now, I'm here on behalf of our competition director, Daniel Bingham. And also behind the scenes, we have Nathan, our broadcast producer, who's keeping the YouTubes spinning along. And we have our scribe, Mel Sinclair, who's going to be doing, honestly, the hardest job today of keeping the panel going and reading out some titles. And my name's Chris Anderson. I'm your panel mentor for this session and the director of judging for the Australian Photographic Prize as well. Now, really important for us is our sponsors. I need to say a huge thank you to our sponsors. Nikon is our major sponsor, and they're awarding our overall Australian winner a voucher for $5,000 worth of Nikon product, which is spectacular. We've also got AZO coming on as our rewarding our runner-up in Australia with an AZO Color Edge CS2731 valued at $2,000. And I'm an AZO ambassador. If you have one of these on your desk, it makes a difference to your editing, so that's really cool. International winner will also get that makes them sound like they win other stuff. Our international winner will win a Professional Photographers Business Network or PPBN 12-month membership. It's worth $1,000. So thank you to Mark Rosetto and the PPBN for that. Now, today, we're here to judge the top 31 images in the classic portrait category. Normally top 30, we had a tie for 30th place, so there's 31 to judge today. Now, classic portrait, the general gist is these are images that capture a subject's essence, personality, or story, and they have to feature at least one living human being as the primary subject. Now, this one belongs to our classic post-production set, which means the entrant can make small changes to the entry to finesse and beautify it. So, you can crop and do color correction and that sort of thing. You can remove light stands or safety equipment. You can, fix a blemish on skin or remove a Coke can from the beach. And you can do a head swap if it's a group and you had one person blinking in this one and you swap it in. Stuff like that's okay. You can't add or remove other elements. You can't change textures. So there's a limited amount of work that you can do, but it's fairly authentic to the original scene. Now, in this session, we have an expert panel of judges, and they're going to be assessing every single image. So we're going to score each image out of 100. We're going to give at least a comment for each. And in some cases, there will be a challenge where we'll discuss the image in more detail and then rescore. Now, once our session's done today, we're going to go to closed door judging, where the panel is going to deliberate to determine the winner of the Australian winner for this category from the highest scoring images. And if you want to know who wins, we'll be announcing our first, second, and third place for each category from Australia and our international winner at our live awards ceremony on the 13th of August. So you have to tune in for that one. And our judges won't know who wins either because we use a secret ballot format. So we're even making them tune in to watch. So, sorry, judges, you got to wait. Now, in a moment, these judges I'm talking about, who are all excellent photographers and human beings and judges, by the way, we're going to introduce them in a minute. But first, we're going to look at the top 31 images in classic portrait in a slideshow. So Mel Sinclair, take it away. I don't know if there's anything we should be doing differently. All right, this is going to be quite a category, everyone. I hope you're looking forward to this. Now, let's introduce our judges. We have this amazing judging panel, and it is truly international. We're going to start with, in his regulation Australian Photographic Prize shirt, we have Andy Campbell.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Chris. Yes, I'm a professional photographer, have been for 40 odd years. Classically trained in portraiture, so raised on Hasselblads and Cinars, and I use a Nikon, yes, and I'm using an ISO monitor right now. been running Australia's longest running headshot studio for the past 26 years, shoot 2,000 portraits a year, and really looking forward to looking at some of these amazing works with you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy. Next, we've got also coming from Melbourne is Faru Yavari.
Good morning, everyone. This is Furu from Melbourne. I'm an artist and also full-time fine art portrait and fashion photographer. My work focus on taking portraits of women, showing their strength, story, their beauty. And also I'm doing lots of corporate headshots and artist headshot and so many beauty and fashion as well. I'm a bit nerd in technique, and also I consider myself as a storyteller photographer as well. So I'm pretty excited about today and can't wait to start judging your beautiful images.
Thanks, Faru. Now, one of the best things about being online is having an international panel, and joining us from the UK, where it is midnight, is Gemma. Gemma, introduce yourself, please.
Hello, I'm Gemma. I'm from the UK, as Chris said. I'm a photographer of many different genres, so everyone keeps on telling me. I've got 2 fellowships with the Society of Wedding and Portrait Photographers. One was in portrait, one is in illustrative macro. I'm also a master craftsman with the Guild of Photographers over in the UK over here.
Awesome. Thanks, Gemma. I had the opportunity to look at that macro panel too, and that was pretty incredible. All right, next up we have Harriet.
Hi, everyone. I'm coming to you from Melbourne as well. I'm so excited about this category. Just looking at that slideshow has just got me really firing. So I can't wait to look at all these works a little bit more. My practice is all around people. I am a commercial photographer and shoot a lot of portraits, but I also run an organization called Photo Collective, and I have a podcast called When Harry Met Sally. And both of those projects really just bring community together, bring people together, talk about how photography affects people in this world. So can't wait to get stuck into this.
Excellent. Thanks, Harriet. Just a note to photographers, you can nominate your conflicts now with the Nominate Conflicts button if you haven't seen it already. Okay, Johan, let's go to you next, all the way from New Zealand, where it looks much colder than here.
Oh, it is. Yes, I'm Johan. I'm from Christchurch in New Zealand. I was particularly looking forward to being a judge in the classic portrait category because I guess I cut my teeth on doing portrait photography as a newspaper photographer way in my early days. I've been photographing probably for about 30, 40 years and judging for almost as long. And the thing that I love most, particularly in portraiture, is where the photograph or the person in the photograph is speaking to me and saying something. And this reflects, I guess, my interest in being a poet. And I like the words that these images bring back to me. So I'm looking forward to this category in particular.
Excellent. Thanks, Johan. If you went to our first image critique where we had some technical problems, you got to hear some of Johan's poetry as well, which is still alive on YouTube if you want to go find it. Kat Ferguson.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me. It's a real privilege to be a judge, so thank you. I appreciate it. Look, I'm a qualified journalist. I've been a photographer for coming on 20 years and part of the Australian award scene for about that time as well, although I'm a relatively new judge. So yeah, definitely looking forward to the classic portrait category. I photograph, weddings, people, newborns, families, corporate events, all sorts of things. So yeah, looking forward to seeing lots of beautiful faces, interesting faces and stories. So bring it on.
Excellent. Thanks, Kat. And lucky last, Lacey.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Chris and the team for having me here. My name is Lacey Barrett. I am a birth photographer and doula, and portrait is where I started and where my heart still deeply lies. I've been photographing for just over 10 years now, and I'm really pumped to see everyone's images and see the stories that are going to unfold right here in front of our screens. So thank you, Chris.
Awesome. Thanks, Lacey. And I should introduce myself as well. So, Chris, I'm from Brisbane. I'm a performing arts photographer, so I get to photograph actors and dancers, whether it's in the studio or on stage during performance, do work on marketing campaigns for theater companies, which is super, super fun. And it's all about portraiture and storytelling. So if you've not already figured it out, this entire group of people is really excited about portraiture, and we are raring to go. So, guys, are we all good to go? Fantastic. Let's do this. We're going to start. We have 7 judges. We're going to have 5 on the panel at any one time. Our starting lineup is Andy, Harriet, Johan, Katrina, and Lacey. So we've got Faru and Gemma in reserve, ready to swing in. And I'm going to keep you guys moving through the panel pretty quickly. Daniel. Oh, no. Mel. This is my 6th in a row. I'm starting to lose my mind. So if I go stir crazy, please forgive me. Mel Sinclair, can we have our first image, please?
Okay, starting us off. The title of this image is Not All Kids Get to Enjoy Cake for Their First Birthday.
All right, we have an 81, a silver award. What a great way to start this category. Excellent work, team. Kat Ferguson, would love a comment from you, please.
Yeah, congratulations. This is this is a very well composed portrait. Really nice to see something totally different. You know, you wouldn't necessarily sort of set this up in a portrait studio. It's beautifully done, and of course the emotion on that child's face. They've obviously had a really hard go, and beautifully handled, sensitively handled, and something that we can really sit with and delve into.
Thanks, Kat. All right, well, I said I was going to keep you guys moving. Harriet, you can have a little break, and let's bring you onto the panel, and we'll have our next image, please, Mel.
Yeah, the title of this image is Asymmetry.
Now, while our judges are looking at this, I need to explain something. You'll see a little note in the bottom corner of this. It says image altered. So when you see an entry that says it's been modified, sometimes there's an entry that might, for some reason, might not be suitable for public display. So if there's anything that YouTube would potentially strike, for example, it could be a portion of the image or it could be the entire image. Now, when that happens, we show a modified version to you in the audience and a modified version in the gallery. The judges always see the original unmodified entry, and that's what they're judging today. And we have a couple of these in this category, so I'll come back and talk about those when we get to them. All right, we have a starting score of 86, silver with distinction, and Andy Campbell is shooting out of the gate with 93 in gold. Take it away, Andy.
Yeah, it's an exquisite image. It's a brilliant concept, well executed. There's not much to dislike in this image, in my personal opinion. The placement, the microposing of the hands are so delicate. The figure is beautifully positioned within the frame. It's geometrically gorgeous in many ways. And I love the way that the photographer has taken the time to not only execute this, but work with obviously a really clever body painter. Perhaps it's the same person, but the team here, whoever's put this together, have worked in harmony to create a beautiful image. Well done.
Thanks, Andy. Let's go to Johan. Johan, you were in silver for this one.
Yes. I gave this a silver because I just felt it was positioned a little high in the frame, but that might not necessarily be a fault because it does create a sense of tension. It does create a sense of elevation, something like that, within the image. And I could be wrong, but it just didn't quite feel wrong. But I do appreciate the micro posing that you're talking about, the elegance of everything else that's been placed and positioned so carefully. And I got a little bit confused, I guess, by the different sizing on the squares as they went down, but then I guess they needed to be like that for the leg. So there's a logic in it, but it just kind of left me feeling a little bit confused with the chaos. But I'm going to be listening to what everybody says.
Excellent. Thanks, Johan. Kat, you were on 86, right on the average.
Yeah, absolutely. Highly refined and distinctive for sure. Immediate impact, obviously. I'm fairly comfortable where it is, but I'm certainly listening. I was a little bit distracted by the white square, third from the top on the right. There's some sort of digital shadowing or cloning or something going on there that's pulling me away. It's happening a bit at the top as well, and the bottom, those middle white squares. And I guess also I wasn't comfortable taking this too much higher because it felt a little digital in terms of being a classic. I don't know, it feels a little bit done for me, but certainly has a lot of impact. So I was really comfortable with Silver's distinction, and I think it's a great image. Yeah, talk to me, Andy. Help me with those sort of digital, sort of done parts.
All right, thanks, Kat. Furu, did you have anything you wanted to add really quickly?
Yes, I give it solid silver. It definitely has such a strong visual impact. It's kind of playing a game with the mind, and the things is really holding back to go further. Beside of that pixel things that I saw it, like Kat mentioned it, I feel like the top part of the body, it's very elegantly posed, but the bottom, the fingers of the foot is just kind of, hidden. It's not as much as we can see all the details of the fingers as the foot or toes or things like that as well. And I feel like this story is a kind of missing in the all visual impact. So I really willing to come up if you can explain it more in that.
Great. Everyone's keen to talk about this. So Lacey, do you have anything quickly you want to add?
Yeah, just in reference to the story, I just wanted to add the asymmetry for me when this image initially turned around. You have this female figure, and the story that I read into this, which I could probably actually come up because the more I think about it, the more clever it is you've got this perfect female form, right? The femininity is meant to be perfect, and we have these perfect squares, but these squares that are painted on this female form as she is bending and moving is no longer perfect. That is now contrasted against the perfect squares behind it. Yes, I think that there are some things that could be done to perhaps bring this up, like the toes. But I'm really listening to see what else Andy has to say, though.
All right, thanks, Lacey. Andy, heaps to work with. Back to you.
It's all good fun, isn't it? Johan, this is not in the middle because this is perfectly placed within the rule of thirds. It is absolutely nailed it as far as that geometrical placement is concerned. Furu, the toes are subtle and delicate. They're turned away deliberately because quite often when people are the center of attention, they may do something with their body language to minimize their presence. And in my opinion, what this person has done by turning their foot that way, they're kind of just sort of trying to hide a little bit. And I think that works beautifully in this composition. Katrina, I'm not sure I'm seeing what you're referring to as far as digital goes, because the body painting here and the background appear to be quite, authentic. That said, I think the comments there about the size of the squares, I think that's relevant because, there would be a natural tapering, if you like, as our bodies extend and so forth. I think that's all fine. There's no real issue for me within that. But what I just want to bring you back to is the expression. We haven't touched on that. It's graceful. It's almost a kind of a Japanese kabuki feel to it, where there's almost a cultural reference there. This is a brilliant picture, folks. The longer we look at it, the more impact it has. It would look fantastic big and on a wall. And I'd strongly encourage you to come up to gold.
All right, everyone. Andy's going to hold his score at 93. Everyone else, you're invited to rescore now, please. We've moved up to an 89, a very high silver with distinction. Excellent work, Andy, and good job, team. Now, Johan, you can have a little break, and let's bring Gemma on for the first time, and we'll go to our next image, please. Mel, sorry, did it again. All yours, Mel.
Okay, the title of this image is Never Ready to Say Goodbye.
All right, we have an 87, a silver with distinction, and Faru is up on 93 in the gold zone. All yours, Faru.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is one of the images that touch your heart. And it's really hard to not cry when you want to describe it. Losing someone so important in your life is not something never ever you can be comfortable, even think about it. And I think photographer really did such a very outstanding job to deliver such an emotional and sensitive subject and concept to us. The main image, that's when the love of someone, the love of that other woman just gone and say goodbye. And the right side is all about saying goodbye to years of being together and love each other. And for me, the right image at the bottom, when that person, she's looking at the camera with such a, I don't know, it's such a strong look, like she's saying something. She's happy, she's in peace now, maybe. So for me, it has such a huge emotional impact, and delivering it and presenting it in such a sequence with the story, I think it's something that really worth to revisit. I'm hearing you guys.
Thanks, Faru. Lacey, you had this in the silver range. You're on mute, Lacey. Sorry.
Oh, man. Tab me one. Sorry, Chris. Yeah, I am in that 82 range. This is an incredibly powerful sequence of images. What held me back was the flow and the layout of how this is actually being presented to us. I would have either really loved to have seen this in more of like a film strip, so we can see more of a sequence. And when I'm moving through this image from left to top to bottom to right, that bottom image is incredibly powerful, and that's the one that I want to keep looking at. And that's actually the one that's the smallest and at the end. And I want to see it bigger, and I want to see the emotion in this gentleman's eyes. Now, I will say these black and white conversions are beautiful. They are handled really well. The level of grain in this, I love some really good grain. This is incredibly beautiful. That is what has kept me out of that higher scoring ranges, though.
Thanks, Lacey. Kat, you were right in the middle with this one.
I was on 88, so silver with distinction, and yeah, I certainly agree this has a lot of emotional impact and resonance as it needs to have in this silver with distinction category. I do agree with Lacey. I feel these are really powerful images, but I feel like they've been a little bit diluted by including multiple. Yeah, particularly that bottom one that Lacey was referencing with the eye contact, I feel is really impactful. and I would have loved to have seen that large. I read this as a man and a woman, the man in the pajamas, but I feel like the main key image for me is not the strongest. So I feel it's kind of a little an editing decision. I feel it's a little less flattering for the man in the image, whereas in each of the others, I feel like they're all stronger. So I guess maybe just help me understand perhaps that choice if I'm going to move up into gold.
All right, thanks, Kat. Fru, back to you.
Thank you, judges. I hear you, and I'm going to explain about why the sequence is presented like this. The main image is when she's gone. She's gone. That's the main and important thing for photographer. And the right side is three sequence of what they had. So it's smaller. It's not in the main center because the truth, she's gone. And that's the thing, I think this is create originality instead of putting the like a narrative, like a film as a sequence, actually showing it what they had. They just belong to the past now. And that's what my interpretation of that. And also I wanted to read it. The first top image is what they have. She has so much love for the next, for the other one. And in the middle, their hand is important. They love each other. She wants to hold her as much as she can. She wants to have her. And the bottom, her gaze is just talking, I had a beautiful life and it's time to go. It's talking to you. And the main one, she's gone. That's the expression. That's the reality that we don't want to see. And that's the reason the next loved one is just cut because she's not important. So there is a two lover that they had a beautiful life together and they love each other till last minute. And in the gold area, we are talking about the excellence in concept. This image is outstanding and presented in a way that touch your heart and make you feel in the last minute. It might happen, you know. For me, it's a gold because it's origin, because it's touched my heart, because the composition of each image is excellent. Also, I wanted to say the pillow, the line of pillow, just direct your eyes to the gaze. And the gaze direct to your eyes, get back to the main image. And I think its compositionally is very clever as well. So I think like I give it a solid gold because it's outstanding image, excellent in concept and craft, and it has such a huge emotional impact and is a powerful image, is a storyteller.
Thank you, Fru. Fru's going to leave her score locked at 93. All other judges, you can rescore now, please. And we have a 90, a gold award. Huge congratulations to the entrant. A gold award is an excellent achievement, and good job, team. It's great to hear this discussion. All right, Kat, you can have a little break, and let's bring Harriet back to the panel. And Mel St. Clair, let's have our next image, please.
Okay, the title of this image, Where Childhood Lingers.
We have an 81, a silver award. Congrats to the entrant. Gemma, I might come to you for a comment on this one, please.
Just making sure I push my mute button off then. I really enjoyed this image. I really enjoy like the color toning of this image. There was a few elements that was a little bit distracting, like the bright sun on the back of the head. It was a little bit too bright for me, and next to like the shed in the background, my eye keeps on going over to the side where the white wall is, and you've got the stuff in the background and the knees right in front of you. If some of them elements was flying slightly, then I would have been going up in a higher categories.
All right, thank you, Gemma. Lacey, let's give you a quick break. And Johan, you're back on the panel. We'll have our next image, please, Mel.
There's no title supplied for this image.
Score, please, Johan. All right, we have at 84, a silver award. And we're going to, Faro and Gemma have both gone for the challenge on this one. Faro, you were first up to challenge, but Gemma's a little bit higher than you. She's on 89. So Gemma, you can take the challenge, please, and take us away.
Yeah, so as soon as this image come up, it just it made me kind of giggle. I can see the guy standing there. Looks like it might be snowing, or if not, it's definitely raining in the background there. And obviously he's got a set of keys in his hand, and he's either going in to go fishing or he's shooting off to go to the lavatory or something along them lines. I just really enjoy it. It's a fun image, and I'd like to listen to what everyone else thinks of this image, so then I can do my little rebuttal.
All right, thanks, Gemma. Harriet, you were square in the middle of the silver range on this one.
Yeah, I think that this is a fantastic image as well, actually, and I'm probably a little bit shy. I think it's probably a silver with distinction, actually, looking around it and spending a bit more time with it. There's that rain is beautiful, the snow, and it's just a fantastic environmental portrait that the photographers held really well. I couldn't really see what was in his hand, so thank you for drawing, for communicating what that is, Gemma. It was just a tiny bit blown out, maybe, so I couldn't quite see it. But yeah, the fact that it's a set of keys is kind of hilarious because it doesn't feel like this place is very locked up. So that adds to the story as well. So yeah, I think I will be coming up a little bit.
Excellent. Thanks, Harriet. Andy, you were in that same range.
Yeah, I think this is a fantastic concept. I think the use of the environment is brilliant. I love the idea that it's snowing and it's sunny. I just want to see this person's face. I want them. I want to get that connection. I want to get more of their story, and I think the only way to get that is through their eyes. And we're not seeing that at the moment. And that's what's holding me back from Silver with Distinction. I think everything else is amazing. The choice of subject is fantastic, but I just don't get that connection with the subject that I'd really like to see.
Thanks, Andy. You challenged this and we gave it to Gemma. What have you got to say about this image?
I wanted to help a bit about this image, about the character. I know what you're saying, Andy, when you say you wanted to see in the eyes, and I'm totally in with you. But this character, it's the personality, everything about it is all about the things around it. The character actually meaning by where this man lives, what he is doing every day, like checking out the neighbors, everything is okay, no one is around. And also the boots, the shirt, parts, the key. There's so much that actually talk about this character. And taking portraits of these kind of people when they're living in that situation is not really hard. It means the photographer have to spend hours and days and, to talk, to get to know that man, and to be capture his personality in the way that he lives in that wooden train in the rain and checking out the neighbor. So I think like for all these, I'm thinking now I'm talking about, I feel like why I didn't give it gold, because this is about classic portrait. This is about character study. So Gemma, I'm really happy you just gave it high silver. Maybe we are talking about gold now.
Thanks, Fru. Gemma, over to you.
Yeah, so I've got a slightly different perception of the guy looking out of the thing. It's like, when you step out into somewhere that's cold and you're like, oh, I've really got to go. Like he's just looking and waiting for that opportunity and building his courage up to run across the grass area to get to whatever he's looking at. I think him not looking into the camera, it actually gives more of a story for me than what it did if he was just standing there looking at me in the camera. So I think, like, from what I've heard from a couple of the other judges, I feel there's definitely some movement on this image.
Excellent. Thanks, Gemma. Gemma, you're going to hold your score at 89. Everyone else can rescore now, please. And we have an 88, a silver with distinction. Again, excellent work, team. It's really great to hear you guys learning about the image, comparing notes so you can assess it more completely, and that's really good. Kat, we're going to bring you back onto the panel, and Andy, you can have a short break, and we'll go to our next image, please, Mel.
This image has no title.
All right, we have a score of 83, a silver award. And we're going to go to, actually, let's go to Kat, who is right on the average.
I was, yeah. This is a beautiful classic portrait. Really interesting things going on with her hair. Lovely posing, lovely colours. Definitely worthy of the award that it's gotten. What would have taken it higher for me would be more in her expression. Certainly, we've got direct eye contact, but I guess I'm not feeling anything from this subject. But it's been beautifully done.
Excellent. Thanks, Kat. Lacey, let's bring you back on, and you can have a little break, and we'll have our next image, please, Mel.
Okay, the title of this image is Still a Woman.
All right, we have an initial score of 89, silver with distinction. And we've got two judges on gold at 92, and they're both pretty keen to challenge. So if you could go to each other's houses and rock, scissors, paper. No, I'm I'm going to go to Harriet for the challenge. So Harriet's going to challenge. It means Katrina's going to have the chance to rescore. All yours, Harriet.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really powerful portrait. I mean, we're on 89. I think we can get to gold. It's a gold image for sure. It's a really classic portrait, very understated. All attention is just on our subject. There's strength, there's power, there's vulnerability. It's just beautiful. The texture in the skin, the expression in the face. When we're looking at this subject category, we're talking about the essence of the subject, the personality, and the story. And this is absolutely everything with no bells and whistles, just the person. So I think we can get there, right, guys?
Thanks, Harriet. Lacey, you were the other end of the scale, but still in silver with distinction.
Yeah, I was probably a little shy on this. There's a lot of contrasting going on here with the literal black and white conversion. There's beautiful highlights, beautiful darks. The technique on this is exquisite. There's the contrast in her facial expression. Like Harriet said, you can see the vulnerability, but you can also see the power. And yeah, I'm definitely game to come up on this one.
All right, thanks, Lacey. Johan, you were right in the middle.
Yep. And I'm very willing to go up. What struck me quite profoundly was actually the title, where it is what this person is saying to us. The photographer has used an almost masculine, harsh lighting on her, and it's such a conflict and a contrast, and it's a challenge. And what I'm getting out of this, the first thing that I wrote down was, "Don't you judge me." And I think that's so strong and powerful within this image. And the photographer's contribution with the lighting and the strength of her, the subject, is outstanding. And I'm very willing to go up to gold.
Thanks, Johan. Kat, you were right up there on 92.
Yes, absolutely. And look, I'm glad I get a chance to rescore because the longer I sit with this, I'm happy to go to gold with distinction. I think this is unequivocally, a classic portrait. It is hitting this category smack in the face, as is her expression, her body language. She has such an interesting body. Like this sort of subject to me is so much more beautiful than something that's been heavily fixed and poised and posed. This is really, really engaging. The catch lights in her eyes are perfection. The light, the shade. I love her posing. Had she had breasts, she would, classically she would, have to cover them. She'd be doing this sort of delicate thing, but she's not. She's proud of who she is, what's happened to her. This woman has lived a life. This is a very beautiful, simple portrait, but it has been excellently done. It is clearly a gold. Please come up.
Thanks, Kat. Harriet, back to you.
Yeah, I think I can only hear wonderful things about it, so I don't have too much to say. I mean, I think we talked about the contrast and the hard lighting, and I think it shows a duality of that vulnerability and strength and what they've gone through and, their hope that you can see in the catch lights in the eyes. And I also just want to say that even though we see the story about what this person's gone through, actually it's their face that draws me in and that beauty in the face. And yeah, Kat, I mean, this is so much more beautiful than anything sort of retouched and made to look like perfection. Just a real beauty in this. I love the way that belly button is just sitting on the edge of that frame as well. So if I could, I would be going up to gold distinction as well. So yeah, let's give it the photographer and the subject their props.
All right, thanks, Harriet. One of the things that I can do as a panel mentor is if I feel there's a sense of energy and I could call a panel mentors challenge, which means all judges, including you, Harriet, can rescore, and that's what I'm doing right now. So all judges, including Harriet, please rescore. We have a 96, gold with distinction. Excellent work. Fantastic work, team. I wish you could, at home, I wish you could see all their faces, but there's a lot of clapping and good teamwork, everyone. All right, Gemma, you can have a little break. And Andy, let's bring you back onto the panel. And we're going to go to our next image, please.
Okay, the title of this image is Between Us.
Okay, we have an 87, a silver with distinction, and we've got Kat on 93. So, Kat, take it away.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, this has, again, very classic portrait. This is completely timeless. I love the choice of wardrobe. It doesn't date. It's not trendy. It could be from any generation. I'm reading these as albino, either twins or close in age brothers. They both have very strong expressions. I'm loving the direct gaze of the boy on our right, but even more so the expression of sort of admiration and love that is really radiating out of this second boy on the left. This portrait is, it's beautifully composed, posed in inverted commas. They've been told to stand there and have their photo taken, but it still feels very much like this is their genuine selves. It's been beautifully handled. Please explain to me why this isn't a gold image. Let's have a chat about it.
All right, thanks, Kat. Lacey, you're on the other end of the scale in silver.
Yeah, the look of the boy on the left has such adoration for what I'm assuming is his brother on the right, and that has really sucked me into this. What I was hoping for an image like this was a little bit more shaping of the light on the subjects. It's not flat by any means, but the highlights, because these boys are blonde, it is really bright. And so I think just doing a little bit of dodging and burning and shaping that is what would have brought that up into that higher silver distinction and even gold range. But I'm definitely listening to my fellow judges.
All right, thanks, Lacey. We might go to Harriet. Harriet, you were really close to the average on this one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to come up a little bit as well. I just wanted to say something quickly that I read this as twins, and what I really, having sat with it longer, what I really see in this is the differences between them and really their personalities. That I really see two different personalities here, even though there's so many similarities. And I think the photographer and the subjects have done a great job together to create that. And I see what you say about the light, Lacey, but I feel like it sparkles over them, like over their freckles, over their glorious kind of blonde hair. There's a kind of sparkliness to it, which I kind of really like.
Thanks, Harriet. Andy, do you have anything you want to add? You're pretty close to the average as well.
Yeah, if we're going to talk gold, I'm happy with this at silver distinction, but if we're going to talk gold, I'd like to see a lot more care with the light. The light on the boy's face on the left-hand side there's a lot of shadow on his face and around his chin area, and the back of his head is overlit by comparison. But the boy on the right, his expression is glorious. His eye, the one we see on the left-hand side, the white of his eye is so bright, and it's so strangely bright that it's unbalanced compared to the other eye. And I think if we're talking gold, I would like to see more care with the lighting here. But overall, it's a fabulous portrait. The connection is terrific. I'm very happy with this as a silver distinction.
Right, thanks, Andy. And Kat, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Great discussion. Yeah, like I think it's quite a conscious decision to make those highlights quite, obvious and bright. Look at the characteristics of these boys. Like I'm reading them as albino. Their eyebrows are this blonde white color. All their little tiny eyelashes, which you can see in perfect detail, are as well. Their singlets, aren't as bright as the highlights aren't as strong as in their hair and features. So I really do think this has been consciously done. I don't think it's a mistake, and I don't think it's an accident. I think it's conscious decision to point out the features of these boys. And yeah, Harriet, like you were saying, I think it was Harriet or perhaps Lacey. Sorry, guys. They're like there's sort of asymmetry, but not right. So they're twins, but they're clearly different. And when you first see it, there's balance. It's evenly composed. The two hands, but everything is also different and speaks to the individuality of these boys as well. So I think we're all very much nearly there. So well and truly asking if you could just come up into gold, please.
All right, thanks, Kat. You're going to lock your score at 93. All other judges, please rescore now. And we have an 89, a silver with distinction. So we've moved up 2 points. Excellent work, everyone. All right, Faru, you're going to come back onto the panel, and Harriet, you can have a little rest, and we'll bring up our next image, please.
This image has no title.
All right, we have an 87, a silver with distinction, but we've got Lacey up in the gold range. Lacey, I'm hoping you want to challenge this.
Do.
Take it away.
I do. This is incredibly powerful, and I think you've got that window coming in, what looks like from the head of the subject. It's kind of like flowing in over him. It's washing him in all of this light in what appears to be a dark time for this gentleman. And this has been handled really well. And the thing that I keep coming back to is this little button. I don't know if that is a heating blanket or if it's perhaps medication for something that is out of frame. You press the button and it delivers pain medication. But what is so powerful is that it is plugged into the wall, and it is like his only lifeline, whether that be, for heating or comfort or pain. That is his only lifeline in this image. It is the only thing that we see. His expression it's that of semi-peace, of semi discomfort. There's this sort of like in the middle here, right? And that is really, really striking to me. I think that the photographer of this image has done incredible storytelling, and I'd really love to see the judges come up into that gold with me.
All right, thanks, Lacey. Fru, you were in the silver range for this one.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lacey, for bringing the bottom in the middle. I think like it's definitely it's add to the story. It might be the painkiller bottom, or be more about the like a warmer. That's what I wanted to know as well. I think it's really simple. The expression is really heart touching, and the way this gentleman holding his hand is really adding to the story, say something. Is very simple. That's the thing. It's minimal. We get it. That's all about the classic. But I feel like if I wanted to go to gold, I need more. I feel like compositionally everything pushed down to the left corner, and I don't know why the gap, the briefing gap in the right side of the image is for like. If I'm listening, I'm really drawn to this image, and I'm willing to listen and come up.
All right, thanks, Faru. Andy, you were also really close to the average.
Yeah, and I'm listening and I'm tempted to go a little higher, but what's holding me back at this point is the light that they've used here is glorious and the placement, and I agree with all of that. But when you zoom in on the person's beard, you can see some areas where the highlights have been burnt in, and it's kind of a shame because everything else is handled so delicately and exquisitely, but those highlights that are muddy in his beard are really quite distracting. So I'm listening, but I'm just not sure if this is quite gold.
Thanks, Andy. And Johan, you want to add something as well?
Yep. I just want to explain that cord. That is the cord that you press when you want the nurse to come and give you extra drugs or fix your bed or sort yourself out. The way I'm reading that cord, though, is if you squint and look back and sort of think about it, this is kind of like a regression, and you could almost liken that to an umbilical cord, by its placement and then its attachment to the mothership, which is the hospital, and his positioning with his knees folded and his arms folded. It's kind of embryonic in a little way. So there's kind of like this regression happening as the chap's getting older. He's kind of reverting back to where he came from. I gave it a high silver. I'm happy to creep up a little bit, possibly not to gold, probably mainly for the thing that you said, Andy. Yeah, but it's very cool.
Thanks, Johan. Okay, Lacey, back to you.
Yeah. So to address the highlights, I was so overtaken with emotion by the overarching the arc of the story that I actually didn't even catch that the beard had been burned in. And so it was something that I had overlooked. But the emptiness in the right hand side, it's to bring that attention to that lifeline, right? I think sometimes less is more. And when we're telling a story, we don't always need more elements to be able to get that story across. And I think that this is a really great example that the artist has done with simplicity in telling a story with very, very minimal objects in a frame. It is literally just this gentleman, his pose, the blanket, and the button attached to the wall. And I don't think that we really need anything else in any parts of this frame to be able to tell that story. And I think because of that the photographer has done an incredible job with being able to tell the story with such minimal objects in the frame. So please come up to gold with me.
Thank you, Lacey. You're going to leave your score at 92. All other judges, please rescore now. We have an 89. We've moved 2 points up, 89, silver with distinction. And you'll hear us say this a lot, every point counts. So excellent work, team. All right, Johan, you can have a little bit of a break. And Gemma, we're going to bring you back onto the panel, and we'll have our next image, please, Mel.
Okay, this image has no title.
Okay, this is very exciting. We have an initial score of 92, and Faru is leaping out of her chair to challenge on 97. So Faru, you can see you have a lot of support on the panel with 3 judges in the gold range. Take it away.
I'm so glad that I sit in 97 gold with distinction. And this image is blew my mind. I wanted to tell what I read about this and why I gave it gold with distinction. This gentleman had a very tough life. He experienced a lot of amount of stress. He's biting his nails like to the end. It's just like the hands, the eyes is talking. He has regret in his eyes. He has tears in his eyes, and the way he's looking through the camera, the lighting just spot on his face and enhance the wrinkles, the lines on his hands, every single details, the texture, and the background is fading to the dark. This is like perfection in every aspect. So when we were talking about the gold with distinction, we're talking about the highest level of photography excellence. That's what I see here. We are talking about emotionally powerful. Just listen my voice. I'm shaking. I'm shaking for how the photographer find this man and what was the communication that the subject delivered his personality and his emotion for the photographer. There was a strong communication between the photographer and the subject, and that's what we want in classic portrait. Gold with distinction. I'm hearing you guys.
Thank you, Faru. Lacey, you were on 88, high silver distinction. We're getting there with the mute. It's okay. We can come back to you if you like, Lacey. Okay, let's do that. We're going to go to Gemma. You were on 92, so you were right on the average.
Yes, like I think for me, everything that you've just said is completely true. I really enjoyed the shallow depth of field. I really enjoyed the fingernail biting and stuff like that. What held me out of that gold with distinction is the as you're looking at the image, the hand on the left is a fair bit brighter, and when we're going into the bench work at the highest quality, I'd expect that to be a little bit more evened out slightly. If you can talk me around on that item, then I'll feel that I've got some more points in me.
Thanks, Gemma. We're going to speak to everyone because we're talking about a goal with distinction. Lacey, are you good to go?
Yeah, I am now.
Great. Go for it.
Yeah, and what Gemma was saying is what was holding me out just a little bit too. It wasn't necessarily with the hand, but it was in the forehead. I think just burning that down just a teeny bit is really gonna to elevate that, to even out that lighting.
Thanks, Lacey. Andy, you were just nudging this into gold.
And I'm listening, and I'm certainly listening. I like I'm impressed by the emotion in his face and the tears. I'm just wondering if it's a little simplistic to go to gold distinction, but I am definitely listening.
All right, thanks, Andy. Kat, you were right in the middle of the gold range.
I was, and I'm going to come up to gold with distinction. Yeah, this image has very strong immediate impact. Andy, you're absolutely right. It is very simple. And I think to have an image that is so simple and yet so powerful, that in itself, that's where the magic is. That's where the distinction comes into it. Obviously his expression is beautiful. What's also getting me is the fact that just the positioning of his hands, it's like flowers blooming. But I love that he's obstructing his mouth. This man, like the photographer, to build this rapport with this man, absolutely needs to be rewarded and acknowledged. I don't imagine he would have been, overly willing for this, perhaps. He's shirtless, he's very vulnerable. He probably isn't comfortable or willing or able to talk about all the hardships that he's been through. But he has sat there and he has opened himself up with his expression, and those tear-filled eyes. One hasn't spilled over yet, which is unbelievable because they are filled with tears. Yeah, this is beautiful to look at. Like compositionally, it works. Like design-wise, you blur your eyes, and this is still quite beautiful. But it just has layer upon layer upon layer of excellence, yeah, in craft, in skill, and that rapport. That's the classic portrait thing that we are looking for. To take a beautiful photo is one thing, but to connect with a subject, that is where the distinction comes into it for me.
Thank you, Katrina. And Farouk, back to you.
Thank you so much, Katrina. I think you just covered so many of things I wanted to say. Yeah, that's vulnerability of this man that photographer could present it in a very interesting and powerful way. And yes, that's the simplicity of Andy, of this image. Beside of everything simple and not pose, not over talk, but every detail talk about this man. Every single detail, the texture, the tattoos, the eyes, the nose, and for the highlights. If the highlights, I explain it why is there a highlight. It capture with harsh light. It might be beauty dish, it might be the small source of the light, and that's the reason we have contrast, because photographers knows for getting this amazing texture and line in the skin, it needs hard light, and we can prevent to not get harsh light or burning the forehead or the tip of the fingers. But I think when I'm looking at in my ISO monitor, I can see all the details and information in the highlight. So it's very well managed. If it was a bit burnout, I was sitting 100 for sure. And one of the things I wanted to say is when we're coming to, I'm just repeat Catherine because it's really important. The power of communication between photographer and the subject to deliver the personality of this gentleman, what he experienced, is definitely gold with distinction to me as well. Guys.
All right, Farouk, you're going to leave your score at 97. All other judges, please rescore. We have a 96, gold with distinction. Excellent work, team. Everyone, there's something that happens when we go from one image to the next and you see the two judges who don't get to judge an image. And I can see them leaning forward, looking at their screen. And there's a little bit of, oh, I wish I was judging this. But I think they'll be really happy with the outcome. Harriet's nodding. So, yeah, for sure. All right, Katrina, you can have a little break. And Harriet, let's bring you back onto the panel. Check that one off, everyone. That was a big one. Let's go to our next image, please.
Okay, the title of this image, Dining Room Became Hospice Near the End.
All right, we have an 84, a silver award, which is an excellent outcome. And we've got Farouk challenging. Farouk's sitting on 88. Take it away.
Yeah, I'm challenging this. It has such a cinematic feeling to it. It's like it's one shot of a movie. And we have foreground that this lady is sitting and looking to the future. We have midground that it's her bed, nicely tied, and it's red color. And I feel like our interpretation of the red color is a love she has in that room, which the other person sitting and looking through the window or sleeping, and he or she's end. So it's the last moment, and it's a hospital, but it's inside of the house. So we have foreground, midground, and background. So three different elements to this story, and that's the reason I say it is very cinematic. We can see her hands, the front subject, because she's out of help. She can help this situation, and she's looking very worrying to the future. So for all those, I gave it solid silver with distinction, and I would love to hear you guys.
All right, thanks, Faru. Harriet, you were in the silver range.
Yeah, I gave this a solid silver. I think the storytelling is just beautiful in it, and the expression on that woman's face is stunning. Yeah, and for all the reasons you've said, for it's a really beautiful image. Just looking around, seeing all the details that you can help create the story about these people's lives. I guess the thing that held me back and that I was quite overpowering is the kind of very warm tone of the image. It feels very, and there's lots of brown and reds and sort of evening light there. So it would be very hard to control that warm, but I just felt that it was kind of leaking into the whole overall feeling of it. So that was what was holding me back, but I'm listening because the storytelling is stunning in this image.
Thanks, Harriet. Andy, you're right up there with Faru.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in support of Faru with this one. I guess when you look at the library collection there's a whole bunch of travel books, which perhaps this person's reflecting a little bit on their lives together. I'm really enjoying that. I'm enjoying the fact that the color is there because obviously in this hospice situation, this person's gone home to pass away, and they're comfortable in their surroundings. They've got some pretty colors outside to enjoy. The warmth, I think, reflects the love in the room, and the layering, as Faru mentioned, is tremendous. I think this is a very strong image, well worthy of a distinction.
Thanks, Andy. Faru, back to you.
Thank you so much, Andy. That the book and traveling, it's just add another layer to the story, and that's what we want in a silver with distinction. We wanted to discover, we wanted to see the layer of the story beside of the technical part. Everything, the front is sharp, the mid-ground, the composition, nothing is perfect, but it's perfect at the same time. And yes, the warm color is an autumn color come inside. And beside, I have one of these room as a dining room here in my house, and everything is too warm in all the time of the day. And photographer wanted to be true to what the photographer see, capture it as it is. And I appreciate it, not changing it. I think, yeah, I'm not repeating myself, but I feel like in my heart is sitting in silver with distinction.
All right, thanks, Faru. You're going to leave your score locked at 88. Everyone else, you can rescore now, please. And we have an 86, silver with distinction. Excellent work, team. It's really good to see. All right, let's give Lacey a little break from the panel, and Johan, you can come back on. And Daniel, if we could have our next image, please.
This image has no title.
All right, we have an 84, a silver award, but I don't think we're staying there very long. Got a couple of judges in silver with distinction. And Harriet's going for the challenge. And actually, Gemma's going for the challenge as well. So we've got two of you fighting it out. Gemma's going from 89, so we're going to take Gemma's.
Yeah, I did put my hand down a little bit so Harriet could take it, but then I thought, hang on, I'm higher, so it allows Harriet to come up a little bit further if she needs to. So the contact, the eye contact is very impressive with this image. It draws me straight in into the image. I think that the separation between the person and the background is handled very well. You don't have no kind of editing, masking issues around that very awkward texture that's wrapped around the subject. I just would like to hear what the others have to say.
All right, thanks, Gemma. Johan, you're on the other end in silver with this one.
Yeah, so I hate to be the naysayer. I also love the way the background kind of belongs in this image and how it accentuates the subject matter. The gaze is strong and powerful. In fact, I read this image from the hair down through the gaze onto the gold, which I thought was incredibly appropriate, down to the tattooing, which had become three-dimensionality by the sharpness of it. And then I ended up on these fingers, and I'm trying to justify having these fingers in the image, and they kind of distracted me. And then I became fixated by it. And then I struggled to go back into the greatness of the rest of the image. That's where I sat.
All right, thanks, Johan. Fru, you were with Johan. You were on that spot.
Yes, Gemma, I really appreciate all the details and the gold tones and the gaze and the simple body pose that photographer could get from the subject. And I really adore the background, the texture and the roughness. But one thing let me down is the roughness of the background and the softness, over softness of the skin, especially on a face that is not really real. And I feel like I can see detail, but it's the amount of the softness on the face, which is not everywhere. It's just like the contrast. It might be benefit the image, or it might be in my feeling, it's not. But I'm listening.
Thanks, Fru. Harriet, you almost got to challenge on this one. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
I just think it really sits in a very solid silver distinction category. It's beautiful. The color and the tone of this image is stunning. The skin, I think, is luminescent. And I think for a very technical image that we're kind of celebrating the technical skills of the photographer, there's actually quite a lot of personality coming through as well. So quite often with these technical kind of studio images, we lose that essence of personality and storytelling. But I really feel like I'm getting a sense of who this person is and this kind of proud nature of this character. So I think it deserves a silver distinction for sure.
All right, thanks, Harriet. And Gemma, let's come back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Harriet. Like, really and truly, I don't have anything more to say, but I do. And so with regard, like, first off, Johan's thing about the fingers, again, similar to what Harriet said, I'm not asking for a gold, not asking for a gold with distinction, but I do feel that this sits as a silver with distinction. I mean, like, we're allowed to have some little elements that are slightly distracting. And it's the same with, I did notice that there's quite a bit of smoothing that's done on the face. But again, the skin tone is handled very well. Like when you get dark skin tones like this, you can easily make a mistake and turn it grey or turn it other colours. But the colour is very rich and it's handled very well. So I do believe that this sits in a high silver distinction category.
All right, thanks, Gemma. Gemma, you're going to leave your score where it is. Everyone else can rescore now, please. And you got your wish, 86, silver with distinction. Excellent work. And congratulations to the entrant. Andy, let's give you a little break, and we're going to bring Kat back on. And Daniel, we can have our next image, please.
Seen but not heard.
All right, we have an initial score of 85, silver with distinction, but we have Johan up in that gold range on 92. Johan?
Yes. Sometimes older people are treated like this. Sometimes they are seen but not heard. And sometimes they feel that way too. Sometimes they feel that they are talking through wobbly glass and that the people on the other side aren't actually understanding what they're saying and they're not listening. This photographer has characterized this in such a strong way. The power of this image is in the hands, how that hand is reaching out to the door over to the other side and trying to get the message out. And the hand on the inside, the right hand, the hand with the strength, that's just being distorted and misconstrued. I think there's a powerful story here, and it's been presented in a very, very gentle but strong way.
Thanks, Johan. Harriet, you were in the highly commended range for this one.
Yeah, I was at the other end of this, Johan, but I'm listening. I think that it's obviously very powerful to look at it first up for sure. And I can see the storytelling that's happening. I can see the narrative of the older generation being kind of behind closed doors, so to speak. So it's highly competent and well executed with clear intent. I just think like I want to give the photographer props because I think the idea is fantastic and I think keep working on this project. I just think it's a little bit confused and it's a little bit muddy in the actual presentation of the image that's bulging is very distracting for me. And I feel they are I understand the idea of the distortion, but I feel like the distortion in that face is quite distracting and is taking me away from that beautiful story that they're trying to communicate. So perhaps it's a little contrived, it's a little too much. I encourage the photographer to maybe just relax in that kind of storytelling to the audience and just hold off a bit. But I am listening and maybe there's room for me to come up.
All right, thanks, Harriet. Kat, you were pretty close to the average on this one.
I was on 86, so silver with distinction, and I'm really, really comfortable there. I do think it's worthy of that. I had the opposite feeling, Harriet, just in terms of I feel like that distortion for me actually is what helps me to understand this story. It's a bit quirky, but this is also really poignant as well. Like I feel for this woman, I can connect with her, but there's a disconnect as well. Excuse me, and obviously with the way that it was titled, there's that miscommunication. We're not understanding each other. We're not seeing each other properly. I think that is the essence of it. So yeah, I think it's definitely worthy of silver with distinction. It's nicely, composed. It's very intentionally done. The only reason I wouldn't go high is for that same sort of technical execution, but I definitely think it's worthy of silver with distinction.
All right, thanks, Kat. Fru, do you have anything you want to add just quickly?
Yes. I think like Catherine, I wanted to say when you say communication, I wanted to say that's the door open to communicate. That's the reason she's bringing her hand out and try to slightly open the door. She wants to communicate, and her hand is just like touching the glass, blown away around it, and the eyes even became bigger through the distortion of the glass. The all is just she wants to communicate, but she's not really sure, but she's slightly coming out from her place. So I think like this story is more stronger than the technical part. I'm in that part with you as well, like especially with Harriet, and I think like highlights blown away, perhaps because the world she's living is blown away with so many things, and she's slightly coming out. But I'm hearing Johan to what you can give us to come up to gold.
All right, thank you we're going to come back to Johan to finish up, please.
There was an opportunity here for the photographer to take over and dominate this with their presence, by dominate it with technique, by dominate it with clarity and sharpness and all these things. And what they did instead was they stepped back and let the image speak for itself. They were involved. They gave us very good cropping, the sense of incarceration in a world that is unclear. But they didn't take it to a point where it actually overtook the story, the distorted, garbled and muddy characterization of this is its strength. And in a way, it works against it, because sometimes as viewers, we're looking for clarity, we're looking for sharpness, we're looking for those things that say this is perfection, but it is perfection. It's perfection in its garbled, distorted, and muddy way. I gave it a 92. I'm looking for some help.
All right, thanks, Johan. Johan, you're going to leave your 92 locked, and everyone else, please rescore. Moved up 1 point to 86, silver with distinction. Excellent discussion, everyone. I know the entry's going to be really happy with that. Let's give you a little break, and we're going to bring Lacey back onto the panel. And Daniel, if we could have our next image, please.
Don't look away.
We have an 81, a silver award. It's pretty consistent scoring around the panel, so good job, everyone. Harriet, I might go to you for a comment on this one, please.
Yeah, really beautiful connection with the person within the image. You can really tell that the photographer and the sitter are working together to create this in collaboration. I guess just to elevate it to that next level, but potentially the crop is a little bit tight, just a little bit more room to breathe, a little bit of, a little bit of space around the person so we can really find room in that image for them. As I go in, it's maybe a tiny little bit soft. And I guess when you're doing such a sharp, intense close-up, just really kind of nailing that sharpness, and maybe, beautiful connection.
Excellent. Thanks, Harriet. Okay, Gemma, you can have a little break for a second, and we're going to bring Andy back onto the panel, and we'll have our next image, please, Daniel.
The less you know, the more you believe.
And we have score of 85, a silver with distinction. I doubt Andy's going to let that stand, sitting at 93 in gold. All yours, Andy.
Well, at least we should talk about it. There's an amazing sort of story with strength happening here, and I think it comes down to, if you take a moment just to see what the lady's reading about here with Vera Lynn and the women who won the war and the other novels there, I guess what we're seeing here is this person who has obviously got some trauma that's happened in their life. They're looking at I guess, heroic figures of the past to get a sense of their place and how they can, adapt to their circumstances and perhaps even, emulate some of that power and strength that's happened previously with many other people's lives. And so my interpretation of this is this woman is quite a heroic figure in herself, and she's almost a role model for many others that have gone before and those to come. The placement of the figure, the lighting, it's all very deliberate. The background is absolutely perfect for this, and the way that it's been constructed. Don't get me wrong, there's a great deal of work has gone into this, and I think it's beautifully done.
Thanks, Andy. Harriet, you were in the highly commended range for this.
Yeah, I've definitely given this a highly commended for, clear intent and well executed work. I guess like I see all those things, Andy, and I see the storytelling. For me, I feel like the storytelling, the artist is kind of walking me through it a bit too much. I like to be able to look around an image and find these little cookies and discover it myself. And I think this is all given to us straight out there on the forefront. It's all very set up. It's perhaps a little contrived, and just it would be great to have kind of found a bit more discovery within the image. But I'm listening, and I'd love to hear what everyone else says.
Thanks, Harriet. Lacey, you were really close to the average in silver with distinction.
Yeah, what I really love about this is the more books that she is reading and adding to the center of that, the longer her legs get, which insinuates that she is getting taller and braver and really taking in all of that information and applying it to her life. What kept me out of that higher gold distinction range is the way the legs are placed at the end of the books. It should be a little bit further back to give the illusion of it coming out of those books. And I think just tweaking the placement of the extension of those legs, unless I'm horribly mistaken, and this lady is incredibly tall, which I might be, but just kind of tweaking the placing of where those legs are coming out of that book to give it more of a realistic feel. That the legs in the books are part of her, and the logo on the pants are just that little bit distracting. I really want to be immersed in all of the books that she's reading, and I keep coming back to that logo. So that's what's keeping me out.
Thanks, Lacey. Johan, do you have anything quick to add?
Yeah, just quickly. The sequence of the books, going from the one she's reading through to the one at her feet, seems to be a progression of acceptance and tolerance and strength, which is quite wonderful. My downside was I wish they'd sort of put the rim light on the back of her a little bit higher so it wasn't casting a light onto the floor. But it's a great image. It's a great image.
Thanks, Johan. Back to you, Andy.
I think the other thing that we haven't touched on is there's a little bit of comedy in this. There's a quiet sort of Monty Python-esque feel where this lady is quite, she knows what's going on with her life, and she's quite proud to show it off and have some fun with it, and to and not so much enjoy her circumstances, but to kind of take the mickey out of herself a little bit. And I think the photographer and the subject have had a lot of fun putting this together, and I think we should reward that. Now, if you can't go to gold, I'd very much encourage you to go to a very, very, very high silver distinction, because this is a pretty cool picture.
All right, thank you, Andy. You're going to lock your score at 93. Everyone else, please rescore now. And we have an 86. We moved up 1 point, silver with distinction. So good work, team, and congratulations to the entrant. Now, we are at about the halfway point in this category, so we're going to take a little commercial break. We're going to let our judges, there have been some heavy images, so our judges might need to get up and stretch their legs for a minute. So we're going to take 2 or 3 minutes and hear from our sponsors, and we'll see you back here in a minute.
photographing the way I do, but with my colors, this will change everything.
I got to see each frame, each position of its wing, and they're so beautiful that I have never seen before.
Being able to move quickly and working at my brain's pace and getting those shots in the moment. Having this camera allows you to go out and create the way you want to create.
Until you use it, you cannot even imagine what you have missed.
It's something I've never seen before in my entire life. It's something totally different.
Nikon Z6 III. Outperform.
Introducing ISO Color Edge. Precision is essential for any professional working with images. Whether you're an artist, a retoucher, or a visual effects specialist, you need to know that what you see at the start of a project is precisely what you'll get at the end. Color Edge monitors give consistent, reliable accuracy that guarantee no surprises within your color workflow. So what you see in real life is what you see on screen, and what you see on screen is what you see in real life. That's precisely why professionals all over the world trust ISO Color Edge for their image creation. ISO Color Edge. Discover living, breathing color.
I'm Mark Rizzetto from the Professional Photography Business Network.
A vibrant community from all around the world who's here to supercharge your business growth.
This is not an expensive one-size-fits-all course.
The PPBN is a network,
An online educational platform with training and resources to suit everyone.
from those just starting out to the seasoned pros.
You can tailor your journey to suit your individual business needs and challenges, all at your own pace.
And there's new content added every week. But success is only part of the experience.
To us, community is super important, as we all know business can be lonely.
So join us today. PPBN is your unfair advantage. Let's do this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the classic portrait category. We're about halfway through, and it's a pretty incredible category. I'm really enjoying all the work that we're seeing right now. Our judges have just come back from a little break, so I'm going to play with the panel to make sure that we're all still on. We're going to come back to the panel with Andy, Fru, Harriet, Katrina, and Lacey, please. And Johan and Gemma, you're going to have a little break at the moment. So, Daniel, let's go to our next image, please.
Title Saturday.
All right, we have an 84, a silver award. So well done to the entrant on your silver. We've got two in silver who are silver with distinction who want a challenge, and for you're on the higher end of that. So you get the challenge. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Chris. Uh, this is one of those character study again. She's enjoying herself. She's a power. She's a superhero. She has so much details in her body, in her outfits to talk about her. And I really adore that glass. It's just like she doesn't care we are looking at her or not. She's posing for us, for photographer, but she's look away and she doesn't want anyone see her eyes. So there's so much to discover from the window to the darkest background, the whole information, even there around her. And there's so much we can talk.
Well, thanks, Farouk. Katrina, you were in the highly commended range for this one.
I was sitting on 79, so I'm clearly on the cusp. I'm definitely happy to listen. What held me back the most was the window. Actually, I feel like it's adding nothing to this scene. It's just pulling me constantly back to that corner. And if I do the old crop situation, this is a much stronger portrait without that. Just remove it, and it immediately has much more impact. So, yeah, happy to listen.
All right, thanks, Kat. Let's have a chat with Lacey. You were pretty close to the middle here.
Yeah, I don't mind that window being there. I think it balances out the light. You've got some, really bright highlights on the left, and you've got some really bright highlights that are reflected on her face. And I think that balances the frame out. So yes, I think cropping that could perhaps maybe elevate this image, but I think it gives us a sense of where the light is coming from for that. I can't think of the word, but yeah. I think this is a really incredibly beautiful image. She is totally in her element. And I feel really comfortable sitting in that silver range, but I would love to be talked into a silver distinction because I'm here for this.
Thanks, Lacey. Harriet, you were also in silver distinction. Do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just think this is it's all woman, it's all personality, it's body positivity, it's she's just so confident. I love that you can't see her eyes, that they're reflected out because it doesn't matter because this is just who she is. The window light on the left, I see what you mean, Kat, but also it didn't really bother me either. I just think it's a solid silver distinction with beautiful control in the black and whites as well. So yeah, have another look, guys.
All right, thanks, Harriet, and back to you for.
Thank you so much, Harriet, and everyone. Yeah, I think like the window and the sunglass or the reading glass and the darkest area in the background is just balance each other. So if the window has enough information and wasn't that much bright, our eyes just stuck in the middle, and then the darkest area and everything around bother us because we only could see the center. So it creates a balance. I'm not saying in a perfect way, but still it works in that composition. I think I rewarded in silver with distinction, not the high silver with distinction, but in a silver distinction because of the character study here. Everything is detailed. The chain, she used chain everywhere. It talks so much about her. At the same time, her pose is just like she's relaxed, but she's very powerful as well. So that's what we wanted in a classic portrait. We wanted to see what photographer delivered to us in terms of the subject matter. And I think she's standing in the dark side of the right side is talking about she's standing in her own spotlight. She's playing for herself as well. So that's the thing. I gave it silver with distinction.
All right, thanks, Fro. You're going to leave your score at 87. Everyone else can rescore now, please. And we've moved 1 point up to silver with distinction. Excellent work, team. Well done. All right, little judge moves. Andy, you can have a quick break, and Gemma, we're going to bring you back on, and we'll have our next image, please, Daniel.
No title.
All right, and this is one of those images where you'll notice that it's been modified. So one of the things when we are showing images on YouTube is they can actually strike us, whether it's a physical body part or even a word that is printed. So in this instance, we have taken the choice to blur part of the image. The judges will always see the original unmodified entry, and that is what they are judging today. All right, we have an initial score of 82, a silver award. Gemma, you're up there on 89, and I'm going to push you into the challenge because that's a pretty strong score.
I did put my hand up, so it might not have come up quick enough for you. Obviously, I've taken a lot of drag images, and this one is like a perfectly or an imperfectly perfect image, or perfectly imperfect, whatever way around we want to say it. To me, the person draws you really in to the image. You can see true skin texture all around the face. You've got the kind of pose that's kind of, oh, I don't care, I am what I am who I am. I know that there's going to be a few people that are going to make some comments, and I'd like to listen to them comments first. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Gemma. Lacey, you were in the highly commended range for this one.
Yeah, look, I think that this is a really powerful story of someone who is reclaiming their own power and identity. And I think that this has been captured beautifully. What's held me out of that award range is the cropping of this image. It's that left shoulder, well, right shoulder, but the left side of the frame has been cropped off slightly, and I really want to see all of this person. I want to see all that they are wearing and showing, and more of what that story is. And so, yeah, and I also think that perhaps there has been some burning in the center of that forehead to kind of bring those highlights down as well. So, yeah, I'd love to hear more, though.
All right, thanks, Lacey. You were right on the average on 82.
Yeah, Lacey, I really like what you mentioned, that the burnout as well. That was my issue as well. And I'm with you, Gemma. The personality and the expression is exactly what it said. One of the things is really bother me, beside of the burnout, not really controlling the light, there is the background. Background is not adding anything, and actually it's very muted, it's a bit wrinkly, there is nothing about the background add to this story, and that's disconnection is really let me down. I'm sitting in solid silver and I'm listening.
All right, thanks, Gemma. Back to you.
Yeah, no worries. I was just making my little notes then. Right, so first off, obviously the cropping, yes, I do see that, Lacey. Like, it would be good if you could see the full image, but then again, if I would see the full image and from this part of it, then I'd be sitting in gold or gold with distinction. There might be a little bit of burning that's happened. The makeup that the person is wearing is very light coloured, so it is quite hard to control. But the highlights are kind of the same from the chest to the hand to the face. It's not any much more bright than any other part of it. It's just something else that draws you in and brings it into the attention for that person. And then obviously we go over to like the background, not adding. That's the whole point of this image. Don't need to add anything to the background. You want to keep it minimal, like it is Just there's a little bit of texture, but separations there. You can see the background from the foreground. I mean, this image, I feel that it definitely needs to sit either higher in the silver, or definitely I've gone top of the silver with distinction, because if them other couple of items like the cropping or a little bit more control on the lighting, like I said, it'd be in the gold, or the gold with distinction.
All right, thanks, Gemma. You're going to keep your score at 89. Everyone else can rescore now, please. Moved 1 point up, 83, solid silver award. So excellent work. There's going to be an entrant who really appreciates all that conversation. So thanks, everyone. Harriet, let's give you a little break, and we're going to bring Johan back on. And Daniel, if we could have our next image, please.
Norman Johnson at 100.
All right, we have an initial score of 88, silver with distinction, and we've got Faru up on 93 in gold. So Faru, take it away.
I'm thinking, am I underscored or not? This is 100 years old man, and he's still working. I wanted to be him. There is so much details here when I'm looking at it, and I say, oh, now I understand it. Now I got it. I'm started from the image at the bottom right, when the gentleman with his autography from 100 years ago, and is still the same. Not 100 years ago, but it's still the same. The look and the thing is just like amazing. And he's sitting in his favorite car, perhaps belonged to many years ago. And that's the thing about this image. Then on the top is family. That's the how he's used to communicate, or still is communicating. It's faxing and it's phone, and it's an old version of it. And I forgot about it. It's just like, oh my God, that's the machine. That's how he communicates. And he's waiting there. He's sitting, waiting, he's napping. Maybe, perhaps, someone of family calling him or sending a message. And the right side, the main image, he's looking through something that perhaps a door, because I can, or the darkness, or something that we can't see, but maybe he can't remember everything. Maybe he's a start of dementia, because there is a list there, things to do for 100 years. He's owned this workplace for 100 years. And oh, when I put all these puzzles together, and I was like, oh my God.
Thank you, Faru. We're going to go to Kat next. Kat, you were in the silver range.
I was, and I'm certainly listening and prepared to move as always. Yeah, look, I'm certainly appreciating each of these images for what they are. I'm enjoying the repetition of the, rectangular sort of feature item in each image, and then obviously the subject itself. For me, they're not connecting. I'm not appreciating them fully as a series together. I'm not quite sure. I guess I just need some more help understanding the relationship between these three photos. I find that the way that the photos propped in the car like that I find it a bit strange, a bit awkward. Again, put it in his hands maybe. Look, it's beautifully done. Yeah, it's certainly an award image, no doubt about that. The treatment is a little bit heavy for me, just in terms of the dodging and burning, quite overt. But yeah, I'm listening. I'm prepared. I'm prepared to come up. Help me
Thanks,
out.
Kat. Lacey, you were right on the average on 88.
Yeah. So a lot of things have been done right with this image. You've got the subject on the left side of the frame and all three images that kind of bring that consistency together. The photo on the left is of him now, where he is in this moment of time with his list of things to do, which, the majority of us are using mobile phones and to-do lists and reminders and Siri shortcuts and all of these really more technologically advanced things. And this gentleman is still using, an old chalkboard to write the things that he needs to do. And so there's a lot of really beautiful nuggets that the more I look at this and the more I dive into each image individually, as a whole, it brings out a little bit more of that story. What has held me out of going into that goal, because I really, really want to, in that left image, there's a little bit of a halo around the shoulders. And it just looks like the photographer might have been trying to create that separation between the background, and it's bled into creating that halo. And the left image and the bottom image are perfectly straight, whereas the image on the right, if the top right had just been shifted to the left just a little bit to bring that horizon line straighter, then we would have three very straight images with three images of the subject on the left hand side to bring that consistency back in together. And that's really what's kind of holding me out of that. Otherwise, we have a really great story. The gentleman in today, top right, is the family, and the bottom left is him reminiscing of where he's come from. And that's a really incredible story.
Thanks, Lacey. Faru, back to you.
Thank you so much, Lacey. When you mention all these details, I was just like, wow, I have to explain lots of them. Catherine, I'm gonna start with the car, and I think like sitting in a car is just perhaps it's kind of a precious belonging to his parents or someone so important. There is a memory that this gentleman was very insist to sit in the car, because sitting in the car and putting a autography beside is not easy, and I'm sure it's not the choice of photographer to put it together. It's very unusual. So I feel like that's the gentleman one, and especially that picture of himself with the family. There are two rectangular from the bottom and the top that playing together. And yes, when Lacey, you mentioned that the head is tilting is not as right. I feel like the three images is like the storytelling sketch for a movie. One close up, one a bit, in the mid, and the other one showing the place something is going to happen. So I think like compositionally, these three images is very clever in a way that works together. And the halo, I can't say anything. I can see it now, but I didn't see it in the first. So I can't really point to that. That definitely is the fault that we can't, but forgivable fault. So still we can give it for a gold. And the low-key image by itself, talking about how loneliness this gentleman is in 100 years old, because there's no one around and is still in his workplace. That's so precious to him. You guys, 2 points away.
All right, thanks for, you're going to lock your score at 93, and everyone else, please rescore. have moved 1 point to an 89, silver with distinction. Every point counts, everyone. So that's very important. All right, let's do a little judge rotation. Kat, you've been on for a while, so let's give you a little break and let's bring Andy back on the panel and we'll have our next image, please, Daniel.
No title.
All right, with pretty consistent scoring around the panel, we have an 86, a silver with distinction. Congratulations to the photographer on this one. And let's see, who am I going to go to for a comment? I'm going to go to Johan for a comment. Johan, you were pretty close to the average.
Yeah. One of the things I really love about this image is the way the subject's eyes are closed, and it's just almost peeking out at you, and there's a strength in that, and then there's a strength in the whole pose, but then there's a element of humor in the costuming and the tattooing on the leg. If I was to improve this image, I would have probably tried to avoid this background. There's a little bit of brown down one side. It becomes a distraction and pulls you away from what you're supposed to be looking at. And it does feel a little bit flat. So maybe strengthening the contrast a little bit and removing that side element would have given this a better mark.
All right, thanks, Johan. We'll do a little judge change. Let's give Lacey a little break. She's been on for a while, and we're going to bring Harriet back on, and we'll have our next image, please, Daniel.
Threads of life.
All right, we have an 82, a silver award. So congratulations to the entrant on your silver. That's an excellent outcome. And who am I going to go to for a comment? Let's talk to Andy. Andy, have you got a comment on this one?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Chris. The gentleman's expression is what tipped me over the line for this one. He's warm, he's engaging. You can look right into his eyes. It's got the Mona Lisa effect where, if you look to the right or the left of this picture, the eyes follow you. I'm a little distracted by the brightness of his surroundings. I think if that were toned down a little, so we're just zooming in on his face a little more, then the environment in which he's in would not be quite so dominant. But other than that, it's a strong image, well deserving of its silver award. Congratulations.
Excellent. Thanks, Andy. All right, you can have a little break, and we're going to bring, who are we bringing back? We're bringing Kat back to the panel, and we'll have our next image, please, Daniel.
97-year-old Alice, matriarch of the farm.
And we have a score of 82, a silver award, which is an excellent result. And Johan he's on 88, which is a pretty solid silver with distinction, and he's taken the challenge. So Johan, take it away.
Excellent. I also would have scored this as just a silver if it hadn't been for the chickens. The chickens add such a sense of fun to this image. They add an element of honesty to an otherwise highly posed image. So it creates a sense of fun and storytelling about a freedom, etc. Yeah, I'd like people to consider that in their opportunity to rescore.
All right, thanks, Johan. Gemma, you were in the highly commended range.
Yeah, I was in the highly commended range. I absolutely love the chickens. I think they're brilliant. What actually held me back is the the camera distortion, like the lens distortion. The woman sitting right on it, and when you look at it, her face kind of stretches, her arm kind of stretches. I kind of do understand the like having the picture in it, because obviously that must be the aerial view of the farm, potentially, but it's just placed in front of her. It's cutting her legs off. It's just not. It doesn't quite gel. It might have been better if the lady was in the center of the frame, so she weren't being distorted and she had a chicken under each arm or something, just to give me a bit more of a story than what I'm getting at the moment.
All right, thanks, Gemma. Kat, you were right on the average on 82.
Yes, I was in silver, and certainly worthy of that. What's held me back is the technical aspects, so particularly the dodging and burning that's been done. It's quite obvious, particularly on her face and the sheer of the curtains. So I found that really distracting, but most certainly the story is there. So I'm really happy with it in silver. Johan, if you can maybe address those things. I can see the story, nice environmental portrait. I'm not sure I'm ready to push it up into silver with distinction, but it is a nice image.
Thanks, Kat. Johan, back to you.
The photographer has used techniques, digital techniques, to bring back some of the information that's absolutely important to the imagery. The story that is behind the windows is on the picture that she's holding in front of her. It's an extension of that. It shows the vastness of what's going on. The wonderful, that beautiful green that's coming through, and so many elements in there, is giving it a very earthy nature. That shadow of the second chicken is really stunning. The poise of the leg as it's about to do its dance. And then the way the browns work, the textures in the browns, again with the chickens. So there's quite a lot of unity and conformity there. At 97, she's doing well to prop herself up there and hold herself and engage with the photographer, probably telling the photographer how to do it. I think there's a lot of elements in this that elevate it, more than just an 82. That's what I did. I gave an 88.
All right, thanks, Johan. Your 88 is going to stay locked in. Everyone else can rescore now, please. We moved up 1 point to 83 silver. So excellent discussion, everyone. And congratulations to the entrant on your silver. Gemma, let's give you a little break, and we're going to bring Lacey back onto the panel, and we'll have our next image, please, Daniel.
Ascension.
Now, as we've mentioned with a few other images, this image has been modified to ensure it's suitable for public display on YouTube. The judges will always see the original image that the entrant has submitted. We have an initial score of 86, silver with distinction. Now, Andy is 10 points away from that on 96, gold with distinction. Andy, you've got quite a range of scores to work with. Take it away.
Cool. This is an extraordinary image, in my opinion. Where do we start? The grace of the form is amazingly beautifully posed of the figure. It's exquisite. The microposing of the fingers, the placement of the foot against the crown of the head, the serene expression. It's all there. The use of the fabric at the top, getting that sense of movement, and or maybe it's even falling. It's fabulous. Just it sort of breaks up the symmetry, and it also breaks up the I guess the rigidness of the background. That said, the background is glorious. That repetition of form and shape there, it's exquisite to look at. The repetition again of the circular form coming into the mat in the foreground. I mean, there's a great deal of thought, time, and effort's gone into this image. The lighting is exquisite. It's perfect, in my opinion. This is well and truly deserving of a very, very high score, and it's beautifully framed and placed image.
Thanks, Andy. Let's go to Harriet. Harriet, you were right in the middle of the highly commended range for this one.
Yeah, it's I've got this at the other end, Andy. I mean, it's highly competent, well executed, clear intent. Technically, this is a beautiful image, and the way the photographer has managed, and the artist and the sitter has managed to get that fabric and the hand kind of connecting together is really stunning. I guess for this category, I'm going back to the rules of the category, the essence of the subject, the personality of the subject, and the story. For me, this would be a great advertising campaign for a beauty product or beauty. It's technically beautiful. I don't see the personality and the essence of this person. I see a very traditional or society expected idea of what female form should be and how we should be looking. And I don't see any sort of that authenticity of that personality coming through in that story. So that's why I've held it back a little bit, but I can absolutely see the technical beauty of the image, and that fabric is just stunning the way that they've caught that. So I'm listening.
Thanks, Harriet. Andy's talking about a goal with distinction, so I think we're going to be talking to most, if not all, of the judges on the panel. And we're going to go to Kat next. So Kat, you were on 85, really close to the average.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And this is why we have a panel, right? Because I agree with Andy and I agree with Harriet, and that's why I'm smackers in the middle. For me, the juxtaposition of the sort of commercial space, lifestyle elements, interior design with the natural human form isn't quite marrying. Again, classic portrait. I'm with you, Harriet, on that. I'm not really connecting with the subject, though I am absolutely appreciating how beautiful it is, how well handled it is, and composed, and the design elements. I'm just not engaging with the subject itself on a sort of human to human level, which is why I'm on silver with distinction. Beautiful image, and I'm listening. I'm not sure if I'll get up into what's Andy going, gold distinction, but I am listening.
All right, thanks, Kat. Johan, you were in the middle of the silver range.
Yes. I really love the flow of the fabric and the flight of it, and the distance between the hand and the fabric itself. There was a couple of things that kept me out of a higher mark, which was the movement of the fabric hasn't been frozen, so there's soft edging around the top. And then I wondered about the choice of accessories, the carpet, the tassels on the mat, and even the texture on the bench that the model is on. It doesn't actually seem to complement the movement and the action and the flow and the finesse of everything else. But I'd be happy to listen to an explanation.
All right, thanks, Johan. Lacey, you're up there in silver with distinction on this one.
Yes, I thank you, Andy, for going so high because the more I look at this, the more I fall in love with it. Um, this feels the finger. It's coming due for my second dose of ADHD meds, so please correct my words if they are jumbled. But this feels very, I believe, Michelangelo with the finger going to almost touch what feels like another finger coming from the fabric. There are very soft lines with the arches in the feminine form, but the contrast to that is the only hard lines in this image. In this image is the bench that she is kneeling on, and so it gives us a bit of that dichotomy of the feminine and the masculine. There's a lot of really beautiful architectural things going on. And I wanted to comment on this woman's face. As a tumbler in my younger years, doing these back bends and still having a face that is not contorted in order to be able to do those sort of back bends, this has been captured eloquently and handled incredibly well. And I love that there is one element of hard lines to resemble just a teeny bit of masculinity, which I think all of us possess a little bit of that, masculine and feminine energy. And I think that this has been displayed really beautiful. So I am here for higher scores. Yeah, great job.
All right, thanks, Lacey. Andy, back to you.
Thanks very much. Johan, I think I've got an interpretation for you. The background is very reminiscent of Byzantine architecture. The placement of that mat is somewhat reminiscent of things you would see in the Middle East, as is the vase and so forth. I'm wondering if this is a person who's throwing off the veil proudly and displaying their form in a way that perhaps culturally they may not normally be able to in a public space. So that's, interpret that as you will. There's a little bit of meaning behind the beauty of this. This person is radiant. They're glowing in their femininity and proudly showing it off and displaying it in an environment that maybe suggests that they don't always get a chance to do that. The photographer has gone to great lengths to bring that story here, to bring the technical, exquisite expertise to this image that I'm not mucking around here. This is this is a gold distinction in my opinion, because it's just so exquisitely done, and there are many layers of interpretation with this. May I strongly encourage you all to join me in gold with this one.
All right, thanks, Andy. Andy's going to stay on 96, and everyone else can rescore now, please. Big jump to gold. Score of 90. Well done, everyone. Good work, panel. All right. Let's give Johan a little break. He's been on for a little bit, and we'll give Farouk a chance to get back on the panel. And Daniel, if we go to our next image, please.
Woman power.
We have an 84, a silver award. And we're not staying there very long. Andy's up in gold. And he's hit that challenge button and we're doing it. So go for it, Andy.
Sorry, me again. This is again beautifully constructed and posed. It's reminiscent of the some of those great fashion portraits of the 50s in the way that it's so use of the light, the shadow, the form here. There's a fabulous portrait in there. I mean, if you were, celebrating your femininity and of a certain age, you'd look back on this one 50 years from now and go, wow, I looked amazing then, and this is a little bit of a moment frozen for that. I love the way the hand is so beautifully placed, not only at the around her neck and the fingers, but also the other hand, gently placed with a little hint of jewelry and rings and so forth. It's a high fashion image. I take responsibility, having been a fashion photographer, to enjoy that. I love the use of light. I love the background just being so simple for the silhouette that we've got here, and the placement of the figure is perfect. So I'm loving this image.
Thanks, Andy. Let's go to Harriet. Harriet was just sneaking into silver.
I think Andy and I just want to have lots of chats at the moment. Yeah, I do see all those things, and I think maybe I was a little bit shy. I think I'm going to be coming up a little bit into the kind of higher end of the silver range. Yeah, very graphic, very structural. Yeah, there are nods to some historical kind of photography, which is really great. I even like that shadow on her face. I think it's kind of risky and daring. There's a little bit of hair that's sticking up outside of the hand, which is pretty distracting. And for something that's so graphic and particular, I would have liked that to have been tidied up. But I'm listening, and I'm keen to come up a bit. So yeah, love to hear what other people think.
Thanks, Harriet. Faru, fashion is very much your lane, and you're really close to the average there.
Yeah, I give it solid silver. Andy, I'm with you. It looks like the old-fashioned time of like more Hollywood style, but not really that the Hollywood style as well. The lighting is exquisite. It's creative. It's hard to create. There is a separation of the rim light happen around the neck, make the neck even longer. And for all of those, I give it 83. I'm with Harriet. The hair could be tidied up. It's distracting. There is some finishing required around the image as well. The finger, it shouldn't be pointed like that, and especially the beat of the touch of the light comes to the finger, and the nail is just, when I see it, I can just like not forgetting it. It's my eyes is competing with the beautiful face. And also there is a weird pixelation or light coming to the left side of her face in that image, which is right side of her, but you can see it's very bright and compared to the rest of the image, and it comes to the side of the hand as well, and it creates some pixel. I think like photographer try to fix something, and it's push the pixel and create that thing. That's to me, and that's why I wanted to go for the silver with distinction, but because of that, I hold myself back.
All right, thanks, Faru. Andy, back to you.
I think what we're seeing here is a homage to a Vogue magazine cover. It's just exquisite in its placement, the form there. I have no issue with the finger. In fact, I think the finger makes it beautiful. I love the light on the fingertip. I love the face, the way that the light is deliberately chosen to fall here. It's a very, very strong, graphic, dynamic image, and well worthy of a very high score.
All right, thanks, Andy. You're going to stay on 91. Everyone else rescore now, please. And we have stayed on 84, a silver award. So congrats to the entrant on your silver. let's do a little judge change. Andy, you can take a short break, and we're going to bring, let's bring Gemma back onto the panel, please. And we'll have our next image, please, Daniel.
No title.
All right, we have an initial score of 84, a silver award, and we are absolutely not staying there with Faru in gold with distinction on 97. Take it away, Faru.
I have so much to do for this image. Oh, okay. First, I'm smiling all the time. The character in this image makes me just go to a journey with himself from the image that is feel like it started from the left top with the cigarette in his hand, and I say, I'm going to tell you my story. The image that the story start from that image. Then he's started talking, and it's a stormy, the rain is coming, and he's expand his story because his hand is just open wide and the cigarette is there. He's still talking. Then he's going to the car, the car he used to have, and he's a part of the messy house he has. He's proud of his nation. The flag is in the background. He's very precise in the middle with the chain in the hat. He wanted the photographer to really listen to him. And then you have a chill out in after the sun's coming through the the storm, and you can see the rainbow, and he's still talking. He wanted to kill himself, and he's finally trying to finish his story. At the end of the day, even the dog is just sleep there. It's just like, okay, it's done. There's so much. It's a comic strip, but the character is a real character, and photographers spend the whole day to photograph that subject in a way he wanted. And it's a close-up, it's a back, it's just like a comic strip book. It's so much you discover. And especially the dog in 3 images. The dog is tired, but sometimes it's just paying attention. Is it only his companion or his friend he has? So there's so much detail you can look and discover in this image, and that's the reason I gave it 97.
Thanks, Faru. We're talking about a goal with distinction, and everyone wants to have a chat about this image. We're going to start with Harriet next on 80.
Thanks, Faru. Speaks so passionately. Look, it's a great story that we're getting from this character, and that's why I put it into the silver category. I think there's some great individual images in here that tell this story of this character. And actually, the sequencing or the multiple image submission is quite distracting. I feel like there's images. When you submit multiple images into a single image, there's got to be a real intention for every single image and why it's there and how it contributes to a single image. It's not a story sequencing competition, it's a single image competition. And even some of these images are repeating. They're telling me the same story. We're going backwards and forwards from wearing the helmet to wearing the hat. And then we've got this random one that's on the sofa, and then we're back in the car, and then the one with the knife. And I just feel like all the images bar 2 are taken from the same viewpoint. So it's very much portrait, 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 portrait. There's nothing in there to kind of fluctuate it. So I'm being a bit harsh on it, and because I think there's some fantastic images within this that could easily have been sort of silver distinction plus images, but as all of them, I'm confused as to why there's so many when the story can be told with less.
All right, thanks, Harriet. We might go to Lacey next. And Lacey, can I get you to move that mic closer to your face, just so we can be a bit clearer for the audience, and then go for it.
Yeah. So I agree here with Harriet. We when we're submitting a lot of images, they all have to come together to tell a larger story for a single image. And I think all of these images belong in this image. It feels out of order, though. There's a rainbow before the knife. I would think that you would experience the darkness and then experience, the rainbow after that. And so I see that there is a story in this. However, I am struggling to untangle it in a way that is very clear. And that's why I'm in that silver range. And something else that's kept me there is the coloring of the images. When you're submitting multiple images into one image, we need to have that consistency in coloring unless it is specifically there to add to the story. And we have a lot of oranges. We have some cooler tones. And I'd really love to see that unison together in that coloring in order to bring that story a little bit closer together for me. But yeah, there's a really, really incredible story here. And I really want to know what it is. Is this, and maybe this is something that Faro can answer that I perhaps have not seen. Is this person in the military? Is he reminiscing about something? Yes, I see that there are struggles in his life, but really, if you could bring that story together for me, then I'll be able to come up in that scoring.
All right, thanks, Lacey. Kat, did you have anything you wanted to add to this?
Not overly. I was in the silver range. Yeah, it's a good character study, but I'm also missing the story. I'm not finding a thread of narrative through it. So that's why I'm in the silver range, and possibly going up to silver with distinction. Happy to keep listing, but I'm not going up into the gold at this point. Sorry.
All right, thanks, Kat. Fru, back to you.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm in a gold, sitting in gold with distinction. I'm not really convincing me to meet me there, but I wanted to show why I give it that score. Okay. I'm totally agree, less is more, but sometimes it can't be because this man has more than one character. How we can explain this man in just less sequences when each of them telling a story of different characters just showing off itself. And also I feel like he wore 4 different hats, and he's in army, he used to be in army. He wear a hat of German with the red. It's kind of warning. It talk about maybe he believe of something, and also he has his own comfortable hat when he's wearing it and chilling in the sunset light close to the window. And he has his hunting hat when he has a knife under his thing. He's this character or photographer trying to show his personality, his 4, 5, 9 maybe character in one image. And also I think like he's talking about, the photographer is talking, why I'm saying he's so sorry, the photographer is talking about the different places as well. So the road behind him, in the first, in the top left corner image, there is a road behind him. That's his life, and he's maybe perhaps lose his mind during to experience so many things in war, and he's just trying to show the story in a very crazy vertical way. It's not pleasant what he's doing at all. His house is just a van in the background. The landscape behind the other image is talking about where he's living, and also his favorite car with that posing relaxing in the car in the left image. He's and his dog, when he's just changed his character to someone is more attacking, more precise to what he wanted to say. The chilling spot, the road, the street he's living and walking with the rainbow. He wanted to kill himself and there is a net behind him. And then again, he chill out in the front of the road he wants to go and the dog is sleeping and ready. I think 9 images is perfectly done to say so many things about this story. I'm agree with less is more, but sometimes there's so much you need to say because there are so much happening. I'm sitting in 9 with I'm sitting in gold with distinction. I'm encouraging you revisit it and say what you feel with.
Thanks for, you're going to keep your 97. Everyone else can rescore now, please. And we're staying on 84, a silver award. So excellent discussion, and another photographer somewhere that really enjoyed that. All right, let's give Harriet a little break because she's been on the panel for a while, and we're going to bring Johan back on, and we'll go to our next image, please, Daniel.
The chimney sweeper.
Okay, we have an 88, silver with distinction, but we've got 2 judges up in the gold range. We'll see. Johan was the quickest to challenge. Johan wins the race. Take it away, Johan.
What a straightforward, simple, but powerful image. There's a very strong gaze from the subject. There's a lot of pride in his stance and his look, the clarity around him, the separation of him from his background, which is the most appropriate color for what he's talking about, the tools of his trade. It's just so wonderfully done, and that little bit of a sheen on the hat and on the leather of the circle of the chimney sweeper, and just the detailing on the buttons. Everything's quite wonderful. I'm struggling to fault this. I gave it a 92. Yeah.
Thanks, Johan. Let's go to Faru. Faru was on 82 in the silver range.
Maybe I did underscore it. Maybe I come up a bit higher, but not sure about the gold. It's very well captured. There's so much details in the dark area, and he's a proud man, and you can see it. There's some halo happened in the left side from the head to the shoulder to the arm, and also I was like. I'm not sure, but the skin, it looks very muddy and a bit just toning it down, but it's if bent to muddy and yellowish. That is really, but I'm listening, Iran.
Thanks, Faru. Let's go to Kat. Kat, you were in the middle of the silver or in a silver with distinction range.
I was on 86. Yeah, this is a highly refined portrait, no doubt about it. Technical skill evident, oozing in that for sure. I guess what held me back is any sort of emotional connection with this man. I can certainly tell who he is to a degree. He's proud of what he does and his skill and all those sorts of things. He's very, very, very clean, which is a little bit of a juxtaposition that felt a bit, competing with the fact that he's a chimney sweeper. Yeah, it's beautiful. Silver with distinction. I was really comfortable with that. It's definitely a award-worthy image. Yeah, talk to me.
All right, thanks, Kat. Gemma, you were right up there on 92. Do you have anything you want to add?
I don't take away anything from Johann's rebuttal or anything like that. But I mean, I suppose that he's clean because he's proud where he's going to start work. He's not been there yet. But again, I suppose I'm going to take one out of Harriet's book here, images that capture the subject's essence, personality or story. I think the story's there, the essence is there. I do think that this is a definite gold image.
Thanks, Gemma. Johann, back to you.
Okay, so at no time has so this is a photograph of a person who does a job, not of the person doing the job. So this is their chimney sweeping uniform, probably just after it's been through the laundry. It's not about the grittiness of the job, it's about the pride. I mean, if you said to this person, I want you to come to the studio and I want you to be a chimney sweep, they might consider that as I'll bring my best chimney sweeping outfit and I'll twirl the end of my moustache and I'll come here and I'll present myself as best I can and be proud of it. But if you look at those hands, I mean, because when they chimney sweep, I'm imagining they don't actually go up the chimney, so they can avoid getting a lot of the grit on them. They probably wear that scarf over their face as well, so that would give them cleanliness. But if you look at the man's hands, they look like they do work and they look like they've been dirty and gritty. But if you look at his tools, they've been cleaned. So I think it's appropriate that he's not looking grimy and all chimney sweeping. He's not Oliver Twisty, the chimney sweeper. He's this man who is a leader amongst chimney sweepers. I've given it 92 because there's a lot of power in the way he's standing. And if you look at the eyes, it's very hard to look away. It's very engaging. I hope you're engaged enough to come up with me into a gold.
All right, thanks, Johann. You're going to keep your score on 92. Other judges, please rescore now. And we have moved to a gold on 90. Excellent work, Johann, and good work, team. And congratulations to the entrant. Gold award is pretty special, so that's always really good to see. All right, let's give Kat a little break. She's been on for a while, and we're going to bring Andy back onto the panel. We'll have our next image, please, Daniel.
Peter Barclay, OAM, Canberran legend.
If you're at home going, this category seems to be running long. It is running long. We're looking like we might finish at about the 12:30 mark, AEST, which is 90 minutes over. Just a testament to the strength of the images that we're seeing. All right, we have an 81, a silver award. Congratulations to the photographer for their silver. That's excellent work. And we're going to go to Andy Campbell. Andy is sitting in the silver with distinction range on 87, and he's taking the challenge. So, Andy, take it away. And you're on mute, Andy.
Thanks, Chris. I actually thought I might be one of the lower scorers here, so there you go. My concern with this image, I'll just talk about why I didn't give it gold or anything first, is just that there's a lot going on, and it would probably help if someone could tell me a little bit more about this person and who they are. So that said, I'm appreciating the fact that there's a lot going on. I really don't know who this person is. So I'm going on my own journey here, and it's quite fascinating to sort of explore why we have, so many disparate objects here. And I'm guessing they're all connected somehow by this person's life. But by gee, it's eclectic. There's such a unusual mix of bits and bobs. This person must have really enjoyed themselves up to this point in their life. And I guess the person themselves, the portrait, it's extraordinary. They're staring straight at the camera, right down the barrel. Hands are relaxed. The enormity of the chair that they're sitting in almost dwarfs them. And so I guess we're sort of looking at a portrait of this person and their accomplishments and their life and so forth. But geez, I'd love to know more about who they are.
Thanks, Andy. Let's see if we can find out. Lacey, you're on 78 in the highly commended range.
Yeah. Look, there's a lot of really great things going on in this image that I think are telling the story of who this person is. What's held me out of a higher award range is there's just a very slight slope to the image, and I keep wanting to twist my head to straighten that horizon line. But I also recognize that this has been very specifically cropped the way it is, as to not crop the top of that top left photograph off. So I just think in camera, just being able to fix that would elevate this a lot. And the actual subject of the gentleman, Peter, he feels really flat in his lighting. There's a lot of dynamic lighting going on in the reflections of the leather and, the images, the pictures on the wall. But he, in his skin, feels very flat. And being able to bring in a little bit more dynamic light on his face to draw my attention to him, because I'm left looking at all of the things around the room instead of actually the subject. So yeah, just being able to pull me into him so that way I can connect all of the other things around the room is what's holding me back from that higher range.
Thanks, Lacey. Johan, you were right on the average on 81.
I love the power of the gaze of the subject here. And I wanted to reward it for the strength of that, but then I keep getting distracted by the peripherals. In the foreground, there's a few elements that are kind of hazy and fuzzy, and they distract me away. And his skin tone was just a little bit pink. But I like the strength of the gaze, and I gave it a silver for that.
All right, thanks, Johan. Andy, back to you.
Yeah, look, I think in all honesty, with reflection with the other comments, maybe I've overscored this one. That said, let's keep it as a solid silver for all the interest that there is.
All right, thanks, Andy. Andy's going to leave his score locked at 87. Everyone else, you can rescore now, please. It moved up 1 point from 81 to 82, so an even stronger silver. Excellent discussion, team. Lacey, let's give you a little break, and we're going to bring Harriet back to the panel, and we'll have our next image, please, Daniel.
No title.
Now, as we've had with a few images before, you'll notice this image has been altered. So we will modify an image if, for whatever reason, we're concerned that we might get a strike from YouTube or from our gallery. The judges will always see the original unmodified entry that the entrant has submitted, and that's what they're judging today. Okay, we have an initial score of 84, and we have a couple of judges up in the gold range. And you both, it was so close, but Johan, I think you were a microsecond in front of Andy there pressing that challenge button. I'd love to see a race. Johan, it's all yours. Take it away.
Great. What I love about this image is, without stating the obvious, you've got somebody here who is unfettered by clutter, surrounded by so much clutter and chaos. They're not, this figure is not bothered by the need to decorate, but yet their environment is so full of things that tell so many stories. Actually, their body itself, like, and it's on its own with all those tattoos and things. I guess that is clutter of a form, but they would see it as art. It's so strong, and that purple that comes in the door and hanging on the palette is just wonderful. And the hula hoop with the label still attached. There's so many things in there. It's just wonderful. And it feels like it's raining in the doorway with the effect of that screen. It's quite lovely and very engaging, gold engaging, in fact.
Thanks, Johan. Harriet, you were in the highly commended range for this.
Yeah, I think I've been a little bit shy on this one, and I definitely feel like it's in the silver range, and I'm listening to hear how I can come up a bit more. Yeah, the environment is everything in this, and it just really adds to this, who this person is, which is quite marvelous, really. I guess I just was maybe just wanting to see a little bit more of their face. I appreciate that the photographer's done something really creative by keeping them behind the veil, so to speak. And there are glimpses of kind of who this person is there. Even if there was just a little crack pulled or something, just to get just a slither of expression within that. I was kind of hoping for, but yeah, I'm listening, and I'm loving looking around this image. So yeah, looking forward to hearing what other people say.
Thanks, Harriet. Gemma, you were in the middle of the silver range.
Yeah, my initial thought when I see this image come up was that maybe the guy was leaving his front door keys from the earlier image and looking at her to run across to her. But I feel that I've scored this on a bit of the lower side. I was with you, Harriet, with wanting to see a little bit more of the woman, but then also as well, if when you look at the image, there's a sign that's just above the lady that says laundry today or naked tomorrow. So clearly she hasn't done her laundry, and maybe that's why she's standing in the doorway as such as this. But it's like one of them things that the more you look at it, the more stuff you see around the image, and it's a well executed image.
Thanks, Gemma. Andy, you were right up there on gold.
Not much, not a lot to add. Excuse me. Not a lot to add, but I really do enjoy the fact that the clouds in the background look like it's about to rain, and as Johan mentioned, the beads look like it's raining. I think it's a comedic image. It's fun, it's quirky, it's hilarious, and well deserving of gold.
Excellent. We'll go back to you to finish up, please, Johan.
Okay. I'd just like to re-emphasize what Gemma said. It's obviously tomorrow because laundry was today, and it's wonderful. It also feels like the subject is part of the joke, you know, and they're smirking with the photographer and they're not afraid. They're just there. They're not trying to do anything or be anything. They're just, here I am, and this is where I am, ugly and beautiful. Yeah, I gave it a 92. 91, sorry. Come up to gold if you can.
Thanks, Johan. You're going to keep your score locked at 91. Everyone else can rescore now, please. And we have a 90 at gold. Well done,
Cool.
team, and well done to the entrant. Gold it's always something to write home about, so that's a really good outcome. All right, let's bring Kat back onto the panel, and we'll give Faru a little break, and we'll have our next image, please, Daniel.
Commanding in Masonic regalia at age 102.
All right, we have an initial score of 85, silver with distinction. Andy's sitting up there in gold and 93. And you don't key in the gold if you want. If you're not willing to challenge, you're not keying in the gold. I know Andy's ready to go for it, so go for it, Andy.
Sure, thanks very much. This is magnificent. This person appears to be a grand master of the Masonic Lodge, and very proud of their achievement, and they're still doing it. It seems that there's a fabulous use of light here. The photographer's made some deliberate choices with keeping enough of the background interest there so that we can just get a little hint of place in the environment. We've got the little star up there, which I think is some part of the Masonic tradition, so it's still there and relevant. The face is amazing. This person, wow, We've seen a lot of really fabulous images of old people today, and this is by no means any exception to the others. It's beautifully handled, well done. Love all the use of the props and the bits and pieces that are there, and I think it says exactly what the title gives us, command. So well done to the entrant.
Thanks, Andy. Gemma, you're in the top end of highly commended.
Yes. So, I mean, I think that this is a good portrait. I feel that there's a bit too much either side. I get that we're trying to get the environment in, but for me, like, the chairs are distracting. There's like the walls have got maybe where they've had stuff in front of them, and furniture's been moved out the way. There seems to be quite a bit of patchiness. I mean, personally, maybe shooting at a slightly lower angle might have been a little bit better, but for me, it's not quite sitting up there.
Right, thanks, Gemma.
But well done for him being 100 years old. Sorry.
Yes, indeed. Let's go to Harriet. Harriet, you were really close to the average there on 86.
Yeah, I think this is a very beautifully made portrait, and I think it deserves silver with the distinction. I'm really happy with where it's sitting. It's very classic, traditional portrait. Like, it feels very environment. A traditional environmental portrait, so not necessarily breaking through to the originality that I would have it to get into gold, but beautiful all the same. And the title actually really adds to it for me. So the fact that he's 102 is really, and just standing there and owning his space is really added. That's what got it into that silver distinction for me, that it really gave me a sense of that character.
All right, thanks, Harriet. Andy, back to you.
I just wanted to touch on the empty chairs. from what little I know of Masonic lodges, they seem to be closing and perhaps losing popularity amongst gentlemen nowadays, and perhaps the fact that the chairs are empty is a reflection of that. I guess disconnect now between popular culture and long established traditions such as the Masons. For that reason, I guess what we're seeing is a well balanced portrait, but it also has some pathos in there. There's some storytelling that has gone on, and this person is sort of last bastion of command of that particular lodge that they're having, and you get a sense that perhaps this lodge is about to close, and perhaps when this person passes, it may do so. That's obviously a pretty long bow to draw, but if you go on the journey with me, I'm sure we can reward this image and this gentleman with a much higher score. So let's go for it, folks.
All right, thanks, Andy. You're going to keep your score at 93. Everyone else can rescore now, please. And we've moved up 2 points to a stronger silver with distinction. So excellent discussion, everyone. Gemma, let's give you a little break, and we're going to bring Lacey's had some time off, and we'll bring Lacey back. Let's have our next image, please, Daniel.
No title.
And we have an 81 silver award. So congratulations to the entrant on your silver. Harriet, however, is in the silver with distinction range in 85. Take it away, Harriet.
Yeah, I wish I'd moved up a bit further now, just to really solidify my position within the silver with distinction. It's a really simple image, and I think on first glance it could be dismissed a little bit, especially as we've seen so many today, this morning so far. But when we really look at it, there's just that simplicity is just so beautiful. There's this calming energy from that beautiful calming landscape to that calming person holding on to their dog. The energy that person kind of is emitting, we're really getting a sense of personality there. And there's a beautiful control that the photographers had of their color palette, and those blues and lovely cool tones are just really lovely, and getting that dog to just connect with that person so beautifully for this image. I think it deserves a silver distinction. Wish I'd gone a bit higher to prove to you guys that I really feel like it should be there.
Thanks, Harriet. Andy, you were in the highly commended range. And you're on mute, Andy, sorry.
When I zoom in on this image, there's a really lovely moment there captured between the person and their pet. And in fact, zooming in on the image, in my opinion, improves it enormously, because it removes the background, which is adding, in my opinion, nothing to the story. It's very distracting, and it's not really giving me anything other than sort of taking points away. I'm also not sure that when we're photographing something like this, that we should keep the dog's collar on and her watch. I think those are elements that I don't know if we really need to add to the story, but I am enjoying the connection between the person and the dog. I think that's lovely.
Right, thanks, Andy. Johan, you were pretty close to the average in the middle of the silver range there.
I don't know if I've got anything else to add. Sorry, I agree with the comment about the collar and the watch.
Okay, cool. In that case, let's go back to Harriet to wrap up.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, look, there are elements that maybe could have been removed, but I do feel like this is a candid portrait, that these people might have been just there and this has just happened. So that spontaneity and that beautiful kind of moment far outweighs kind of tweaking things, I guess. So maybe that's part of that. It didn't distract me too much. And as far as the scene, I feel like those ripples in the lake really kind of bring attention into this central area and kind of add to this kind of, you know, what's important in life and how it ripples out into the world. Maybe I'm reading that into it. Yeah, I think it's a beautiful image. Perhaps we can get it up a little bit further into a solid silver at least, guys.
All right, thanks, Harriet. Harriet, you're going to leave your score at 85. Everyone else rescore now, please. And we've stayed on 81, silver award. Excellent discussion, everyone. All right, let's do a big old judge change for fun. So Johan and Andy, you can both have a little break from the panel, and we're going to bring Faru and Gemma back on. And we'll have our next image, please, Daniel.
Emerging.
All right, we have an initial score of 84, and 10 points above that, we've got Gemma on 94 in the gold range. So it's all yours, Gemma.
Yeah, I think that this image has been handled very well, sort of thing, with the whole emerging story line behind it. It's like a peacock spreading their wings, his eyes matching with, like, the color of his eyes actually matching with the feathers as well, and so like with the trousers the same kind of color, so the blue goes all the way through the image, and you can see that light coming from above that he's heading towards. So let's get the notes ready.
All right, thanks, Gemma. We've got really even scoring around the panel. We might go to Faru for a comment. Faru, you're on 83 in silver.
Such an elegant portrait of the subject, the body shape, the pose, the blue feather, everything talk about his personality or the personality of subject as well. I give it solid silver, and I feel like I'm comfortable there. The reason I holding me back to come higher, Gemma, it's the lighting from the top. It's a beautiful lighting for separation. It gives such a scenery to the portrait, but also is distracting as well, and doesn't have that golden feeling of the light to it. It's kind of whitewash. It's not match the color palette of the image, but I'm listening.
All right, thanks, Faru. And Kat, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Look, I'm on 83, so I'm in the silver range there. Yeah, a beautifully done portrait. When you've got this much control, I would just keep an eye on that the cord drawstring of his pants cutting into the hand there is rather distracting. And I guess, look, it's probably intentionally done, I guess, but his pose, it almost feels like he's holding his breath and a little uncomfortable. So yeah, beautifully done, worthy of a silver. I'm not overly connecting with this man or his story specifically.
All right, thanks, Kat. Gemma, back to you.
Like, I mean, I suppose there was 2, maybe 3 items from you both there. I understand where you're coming from through with it being a white light, but that light coming down from the top is there on purpose, and it's adding to the story, and it's not part of the lighting for him. It's a light above him that's showing that he's emerging, so it draws the character up towards it, and that, I suppose, that goes with the pose as well, Kat, that it again, it's just him coming out and showing that he's proud, he's emerging from whatever he's emerging from. I get the little bit of drawstring. It's a small minor detail that's added to it, so really and truly, the comments that we've got actually push it up higher, because we're not talking about a gold with distinction. But I mean, when you read the definitions of each of them categories, once again, it's there isn't any major flaws. The photographic elements of it is done well. The lighting is done well. There's been a story added to the image. I feel that we're just missing out on some points that the author actually should be getting.
All right, thanks, Gemma. Gemma, you're going to lock your score at 94. All other judges, please rescore now. And the images stayed at 84. Very strong silver award. So congratulations to the entrant. Let's do another big old judge change. So Katrina and Harriet, you can both have a little rest. And we're going to bring Johan and Andy back onto the panel for our next image, please, Daniel.
Artemis.
And once again, this is one of those entries that we've modified it to ensure that it is safe for YouTube to display. And when we do that, the judges will always see the original unmodified entry exactly as the entrant has submitted it. And that's what they're judging today. And we have an 85, a silver with distinction, with 3 judges in the silver with distinction range right out of the gate. So excellent work to the entrant, and congratulations. Who am I going to for a comment? Let's go to Faru for a comment. Your score was really close to the average, Faru.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful pose, it's elegant. The use of the location, this is amazing location, and controlling of the harsh light and playing with the pose to even enhance the location, the body of the woman and the circle and the blue color, everything just precise, well thought and well captured. Congratulations.
Right. Congratulations to the entrant. And that is our final image in the classic portrait division. So look, congratulations to all the entrants. There's something that happens when you're a judge or you're a panel mentor and you're watching these images go and you leave going, I'm really inspired. I've got work to do because of the things that we've seen. It's definitely made me think. So yeah, excellent work to all of our entrants. I want to thank Nathan, our broadcast coordinator, broadcast producer, has kept everything running really nicely. You'll notice we had a little switch from Mel to Daniel partway through when Mel's power went out at home. So Daniel stepped in as our emergency inflatable scribe and done a tremendous job. So thanks, Daniel. Now, if you are, what we're going to do next is we're going to break from the live stream and we're going to go and judge. We're going to look at the highest scoring Australian images to select an Australian winner and also choose the international winner. And our judges aren't going to know who that is. They're going to have to tune into the award ceremony on the 13th of August as well. So can I please get all the judges on screen? And I need to say a really big thank you to all of you. So thank you, Andy Campbell, Froyo Uvari, Gemma Sains from the UK, where it is now 3:20 in the morning, and she is still judging. So we're going to keep her back for a long discussion afterwards. Gemma, I hope that's okay. Harriet, who is not 3:20 in the morning, Johan in New Zealand, Kat Ferguson, and Lacey Barrett. And I'm Chris Anderson. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Now, we're actually having Monday off from judging because we're all going a little bit loopy. But from Tuesday, there's a massive range of categories. Next week, we've got creative wedding, maternity, birds, aerial. Next Saturday, creative landscape, natural landscape, and underwater. And then on Sunday, travel. If you go to the Australian Photographic Prize homepage, there's a full timetable there. So we can't wait to see you tuning in again next week. And thanks so much for tuning into Classic Portrait. We'll see you again soon. Bye, everyone.
photographing the way I do, but with my colors, this will change everything.
I got to see each frame, each position of its wing, and they're so beautiful that I have never seen before.
Being able to move quickly and working at my brain's pace and getting those shots in the moment. Having this camera allows you to go out and create the way you want to create.
Until you use it, you cannot even imagine what you have missed.
It's something I've never seen before in my entire life. It's something totally different.
Nikon Z6 III. Outperform.
Introducing ISO Color Edge. Precision is essential for any professional working with images. Whether you're an artist, a retoucher, or a visual effects specialist, you need to know that what you see at the start of a project is precisely what you'll get at the end. Color Edge monitors give consistent, reliable accuracy that guarantee no surprises within your color workflow. So what you see in real life is what you see on screen, and what you see on screen is what you see in real life. That's precisely why professionals all over the world trust ISO Color Edge for their image creation. ISO Color Edge. Discover living, breathing color.
I'm Mark Rizzetto from the Professional Photography Business Network.
A vibrant community from all around the world who's here to supercharge your business growth.
This is not an expensive one-size-fits-all course.
PPBN is a network,
An online educational platform with training and resources to suit everyone.
from those just starting out to the seasoned pros.
You can tailor your journey to suit your individual business needs and challenges, all at your own pace.
And there's new content added every week. But success is only part of the experience.
To us, community is super important as we all know business can be lonely.
So join us today. PPBN is your unfair advantage. Let's do this.